After the close on Friday, huge rally, Berkshire into Google in a very big way. So we'll touch on that coming up. Google giving some of that back already. I mean, there's months of M&A activity this morning as well. J&J with a purchase. Worth noting, there's another one as well with a smaller pharmaceutical company. But overall, I mean, big week to come. I think we'll finally see the overall condition of the employment market a little bit clearer this week.
Absolutely, Brendo, and we'll get more information on the AI trade and whether there's a bubble brewing or what the situation is. Of course, when Nvidia reports tomorrow, there's a whole lot to talk about today, guys. As Brendo mentioned, the Berkshire acquisition of Alphabet and the simultaneous selling of part of the position in Apple, still their largest holding. XPeng reporting as well, Brendo. Q3 beat, but a weak outlook there. Apple succession plans, and yes, the Apple Watch focus again as Massimo looks to relitigate with the International Court of Commerce. Disney and YouTube finally getting their act together. Brendo, looks like Disney's channels are back on YouTube television, and Tesla not buying any more or trying to divest away from Chinese parts, a major strategic shift for their supply chain. Yeah,
lots to get into here. Tesla not really doing a heck of a lot here so far this morning, kind of looking the same. But that Apple story was really interesting. I was reading through that this morning before we came over here. But yeah, Tim Cook reportedly might be out as soon as next year. They're already pointing to, what was the name of the guy? John Turnus, who is the hardware chief currently, as a possible successor for Tim Cook. So overall, again, Nasdaq kind of leaking here. This is what the S&P 500 looking like. We're just sitting on these prior highs. This is a daily chart. If you zoom out a little bit, just sitting here on these prior highs, which have acted as support going back a couple of months in a row here. But yeah, Apple, interesting here.
It's really interesting, Brendo, as Federici as well, being his name being mentioned as well as a possible successor. But really, it's a story of Bitcoin here, dropping aggressively over the weekend, almost down into 90,000. The blood's in the street right now, barely holding on to positive territory on my blotter here, Brendo, only up 0.25% and below 95,000. Tough look. A lot of people talking that there could be more blood in the street for Bitcoin on the way down.
So far, so good as far as Sharif's monitors are concerned as well. We're having a little bit of a PC issue here around here this morning. But hey, it's Monday. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning. Glad to see the PC's working up there. Well, it was a good morning in terms of being green like 10 minutes ago. But the bleed or the drip or whatever you want to call it seems to be coming right back into it as the Nasdaq is red. It was actually, most of the day was actually buying on Friday. If you look at what happened in crypto, unfortunately, and that's back underneath 95, as mentioned. Big story, of course, Alphabet. Berkshire instantly making it one of the top 10 holdings right there. So this one has an outside chance to lead the way here today. You never want to write anything off. I mean, anything's possible. You get a little too optimistic and things can easily go in the other direction. But this is looking incredibly strong. QUBT and the quantum name should be on mine because they reported on Friday. Actually, surprisingly made money, although fundamentals don't really matter there and the revenue is ridiculously small. But that's also going to be in play. And hey, I guess both of our teams did it ugly, but wins are wins as far as I'm concerned.
I didn't watch anything with the Bills. It was not a good game.
Dude, there was zero, like the Bills.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Bills-Bucks.
The Bills couldn't stop.
Well, at least that was a good team.
A CFL team, but the offense was good.
Yeah, the Bills are in.
Allen basically took Allen to be like basically the most ridiculous game of all time. But when he's playing like that, you're not going to lose. So
no, that's what I mean. The Bills go with Josh Allen, which is hopefully not a problem. Kansas City yesterday. Anyways, okay. Yeah, Google, nice move. Yeah, look, I was looking today, honestly, MSTR, as we talk about. Yeah, I mean, like, no one's selling at what I know anyways. No one seems to be selling any of their crypto, yet everybody sees it just bleeding down. This MSTR is the same kind of thing. This was 400. Like, you want to talk about something that's absolutely imploding. Forget about crypto itself, probably has a 70 handle on it, but this one right here, this is 450 MSTR was back in July. This is now I got to move my phone here so I can see, $190 right now and looking a lot lower. So Bitcoin only down about 24% from its all-time high, which is still not great. But look at MSTR here. Is this unraveling or what? So we got to try to look at that as many of these other plays. You know, Mara, something similar there. I know Mara's going to be a lot different, but some of these Bitcoin holding companies, you know, or that have turned into them anyways, seem to be just getting absolutely crushed here. And even if you go back to where we were in July here on Mara, that was $20, so you're down to $12 as well. So some of these names really cut in half. I mean, let alone a BMNR and whatever. So you just, you know, you get some of these huge moves and then just very, very epic pullbacks. This is down 50% as well in a month. So, you know, there's lots of stuff to look at. Back and forth again. I mean, I think the Apple story is pretty interesting. I didn't realize anything was happening with Tim Cook, but you can see right here maybe something is. And now Apple's down 1.09% basically on that news. So this is looking potentially breakage as well right here. One of the only names in the Mag 7, I mean, obviously we have Google today as well, that is significantly above its 50-period moving average. So I could see this one losing a little bit of steam for a minute here. But yeah, just, oh, and then Alibaba, obviously on Friday there, the military not, the US not liking some of those classifications right here. And you saw this drop went whoosh. And then today we get, that was right at 1 o'clock. Nice bottom there, 150, 152. We'll see if it can hold today as I get good news from Quen. So that's why I bought it. So we'll see if where that's going. But yeah, nice moves all over the place, man. Alibaba, I think, goes back up to the upside again. And then on Wednesday, you know, we have Nvidia, so we see where all the horses, men, and you know, gather, and what winds up happening here, because you know everyone's waiting for this move.
Is it Humpty Dumpty, or is it more like the Emperor's New Clothes? Which one?
I think this one's probably like Humpty Dumpty a little bit, where we will probably fall back in. I don't know. I don't know what kind of number they have to put out, right? I mean, now you're down 1.7% today ahead of the earnings call. I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect with Nvidia, but there's a lot of people selling. So, and nothing wrong with selling at the all-time high.
Yeah, Peter Thiel selling everything. I think is what surprised people. It's when you sell like the entire stake. Like SoftBank sold it all. Peter Thiel
this market not looking good.
Yeah, and then we're going even more red. It's only 0.14, but you know, not a lot is actually holding up. So far. So the Q's not doing, they're really not doing their justice. It looks like that 25,000 on the Nasdaq, we could be headed in for a test, and we're right at that ye old 50 period. So just like Friday comes, can the Q's hold on to the 50 period on the daily? That's been big time support. And it is certainly being tested today. We said on Friday that Monday and what the money does at the open on Monday probably matters more than what it did on Friday, in my opinion, because when you're down that much, you get that relief rally kind of thing. Do we see that kind of buying on a Monday morning? It's a different story. Lots to cover. Let's get back into the desk. I believe we're also going to have the NOS boss.
Interesting note I was reading on the weekend regarding retail traders and the inflows in the last quarter going into the end of the year here. Finally seeing a bit of a shift towards the institutional side. So to this point this year, if you remember, mostly inflows have been in favor of retail traders, and we're finally seeing that slowing to a point where institutional surpassed retail for the first time in a long time, dip buying essentially. So just brought up a weekly chart here of NVIDIA, wrapped up its second straight red week in a row here. But I mean, this chart still obviously holding up amazingly well, just above 180, even though we put in 2 red weeks, as we mentioned. Again, Peter Thiel becoming the latest to come out here saying that he also exited his fund exited their entire stake of NVIDIA in Q3, adding to, you know, a growing list here of people doing that.
Yeah, Brendo, it's not bad to kind of cycle your money to different parts. We talked about the picks and shovels of AI rather than, you know, the main. But I want to build on your point about retail investors. I was reading an interesting article over the weekend. It was like retail didn't even have a chance to react to the tariff tantrum back in April. So the drawdowns, Brendo, they weren't selling much like a lot of institutions were. They were kind of holding, and so they've reaped the rewards off the area lows. Not a lot were adding, to be fair, but they did kind of weather through the storm. Interesting take from NVIDIA, as you brought it up as well. Jensen Huang disclosed that there's about five, and we'll get to this more on the rundown, I'm sure, because NVIDIA reports tomorrow, but Jensen disclosed a $500 billion top line in combined 2025-2026 orders covering Blackwell GPUs, next-gen Rubin, and networking components. Of course, releasing that information ahead of earnings. $500 billion, Brendo. I don't know what to make of this, but obviously one of the main things we've been talking about is the depreciating nature of a lot of these GPUs, whether they're usable for 2 or 3 years or whether they're available for 6, as some hyperscalers are using that number for their accounting. So lots to find out as this whole play unfolds.
Yeah, not going anywhere anytime soon. On the other end of the scale, energy stocks, kind of interesting here today. Michael Noss is actually going to join us here in a couple of minutes, talk about some energy opportunities, not something we've been talking about, and rightfully so. This is, I mean, I just brought up CVX here, going all the way back to the beginning of the year on a weekly chart. It's been a choppy kind of mess for most of the individual energy names. Oil has been relatively weak over the past couple of months anyways, but Michael Noss coming up here in a couple of minutes, guys. But I mean, interesting here as far as NVIDIA is concerned today.
I wonder if Michael's going to talk about nat gas. That's
Michael
an interesting
Noss.
bounce. We'll see. But NVIDIA, it's interesting because it feels as if NVIDIA is basically just turned into the overall market itself. And like in terms of individual chip names, on a day-to-day basis, you're probably looking to individually trade something else because most days AMD is moving more, or like SMCI or Micron or SanDisk. There's always something else which is a little bit more quote unquote in play. Today, you actually have a situation where NVIDIA is leading us to the downside, down that 1.5%. But it cuts both ways. It was an absolute monster rally, but everything broke out right away at the open Friday morning. And some things sustained and other things didn't. One of the things that was interesting to me was, I look at NVIDIA closed the gap on Friday and held the highs. And in comparison to that, AMD broke. I mean, it's not really the same gap, but broke the gap, got above 250, and then late in the afternoon, it failed exactly 250 during power hour. So this is one where, okay, sure, NVIDIA is down a little bit more, but AMD did not hold up as well. So I want to look to this one. I still think they're a little bit frothier. NVIDIA is back at the 50 period already. AMD's put in a great and fantastic run recently, but it's back at under that 250. That's going to be the level I watch. So it might not be an NVIDIA day for me. I think it's going to be an AMD 250 and play that one to the downside. We've said it a few times, but he is locked and loaded. Interesting to talk about some energy on a Monday, something we don't talk about very often with Mr. Noss.
Yeah, interesting looking charts here to discuss. Let's bring them right in here and get it going on a Monday morning. Michael Noss, happy employment data week, I guess is the best way to put it so far.
Finally, yeah, new data.
Allegedly, we'll get some data here coming up towards the end of the week, but we'll get into that. You, as you normally do over the weekend, did some chart surfing, I imagine, and came up with energy as an idea this week.
Yeah, and this seems to be kind of long forgotten, and rightfully so, if you look at the charts. But as always, we had a little bit of a choppy market. We were down a little bit there and then rallied into the end of the week. So if we're just going to bounce from here like we always do, we got to look for potentially what sector is next. And energy is really interesting here. And we're starting here with a monthly chart. So we're going really, really wide. And this is the XLE. So this is the Spider Energy Fund, which only makes up about 3% of the S&P 500. So energy is a very, very small component to what's happening in the overall market, which is why, as you can see, for years, since all the way we're going back to 2007 here, we've pretty much done nothing with a whole lot of kind of up and down, but we're resting against these prior highs. So the stocks that make up this ETF are, your Exxon Mobil, which we'll talk about, and like Chevron and British Petroleum and these type of names that take the energy out of the ground and sell it to other people. So not so much the commodity itself, but the companies that, generally speaking, will profit off of the commodity. And yeah, if we can ever get through this 100, it's kind of clear skies and a very interesting breakout because people have been rewarded for shorting every time we get anywhere near 100 and covering on the way down. If that stops working, we could have a little bit of a short squeeze that could cause a little bit of a breakout. I've seen some reports that the short on the energy side of things is getting pretty high. So that's the long-term chart. That's why it was interesting to me, is this nice tight base for years now, sitting right up near highs here. And yeah, this next chart, we're zooming into the weekly chart. And the main thing I want you to focus on is just last week's candle. So the SPY did nothing last week. It was up a lot and down a lot, and we ended up closing right where we opened the week. And same with the Qs, same with the Dow, but then energy put in this very strong candle. It was energy and healthcare were really kind of holding up the markets here. And I've already talked about healthcare and how I own a bunch in that space. So energy is kind of my next target here, I believe. So simple trend line, you just draw it in there. It's sitting around right where we are, around 92 bucks. So any sort of continuation this week could get us over that particular trend line. This next chart is a week to date. So this is basically last week's worth of data, and this is a ratio chart. And so it's XLE over the SPY. So long story short, if this line goes up, it means energy is outperforming the SPY. If this line goes down, it means the SPY is outperforming energy. And you can see now we're getting this nice uptrend where there seems to be some of this rotation into energy out of the S&P 500. And if you zoom out for pretty much any period of time on this chart, it's straight down with just the occasional bumps higher. So if we are seeing a little bit of rotation, a little bit of a push, and we're going to start to see energy outperform a little bit, you're going to see it in this particular chart first, and that's kind of what we're seeing here as well. So you can grab the XLE. There's probably some leveraged ETFs to look there as well. I went through the list of things that the XLE holds, and I just grabbed Exxon here because here on a daily chart, on a shorter term chart of ExxonMobil, it's really interesting with this potential breakout and very much the candle that we had on Friday. So 117, call it 116 to 118. You can see the resistance that we had there, and we've been kind of bumping our head on a long time. And then we've had these higher lows, and that's what creates this ascending trend line or triangle, which are very interesting to play. Last week we broke out of that triangle, and then we came back to test it. And so far, it's been a little bit of a successful test. So I'm just looking at this really simply and saying, if we're above 120, I'm going to be owning ExxonMobil. If we break below 115, I think it's going to be time to move on. And that's how I'm going to express this particular trade. I would imagine most, if not all of these things are going to just move together. So you can just pick whatever target you have, whatever your energy stock or energy instrument of choice is. And if I'm right, they all go up. And if I'm wrong, they probably all go down.
As you mentioned there, going back to not only the beginning of this year, but zoom out even further over the past couple of years, it's been kind of a sideways choppy mess for all things energy. Is there something that we can look for that says, okay, for whatever reason, doesn't really matter the catalyst behind it, but for whatever reason, it's different now outside of just, we're getting above prior resistance? Like, are you going to pay attention to some sort of relative strength or some sort of, volume indication maybe that there is more and more interest coming back into it?
Yeah, I'm going to spend a lot of time looking at that XLE versus SPY chart that I put there and just making sure that there is that outperformance, because again, being 3% of the overall market energy, it's really just a drop in the bucket. So the whole market could tank and then energy could hold up really strongly and vice versa. It doesn't have to move as much with the market because it's just a smaller component. That, and I understand that I'm probably going to be wrong here. I've taken a couple swings at energy in the past and I was wrong there as well. So it ends up just being a risk reward bet. I'm risking $5 on ExxonMobil, but if we actually break out and make new highs in the XLE energy, the upside is going to be many, many times that. So I'm swinging this one pretty small, and I kind of look at it as a little bit of a hedge as well. I don't see a world in which, we just completely fall apart and ExxonMobil gets cut in half or something like that. These are slower stocks, but they're more resilient stocks because their businesses are just, they're not in the whims of what an AI is going to do or something like that. So yeah, I kind of expect less than a 50-50 chance I'm right here, but I just know that risk reward is really offside, that if we are finally going to get a move in energy, that could really, really take off and it just make up for, trying this trade 3 or 4 times and losing on it.
Sounds good. We'll keep an eye on it and see how things pan out here. I mean, I've definitely been enjoying the lower end of the price scale at the pumps as far as oil is concerned, but maybe it is time for a little bit of a bounce back as far as energy is concerned. Michael Noss, we'll see you again after the close.
Talk to you tonight. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it there, Michael, seeing you at the close. And I didn't even, like, when Obi and I were on in the morning, everything was rallying so much, I believe. And there was like so much volatility, obviously, it being Friday, options expiration, and then all those crazy like dip buy runners. I didn't even notice what you would have seen happen in XOM, CVX, which was a heavy sell on the 15-minute, the first 15-minute candle, and then bought right back up. Now that's a good sign too. And the crazy thing is that's not the first time that it happened. It happened on Monday as well, where you had this deep dip in XOM and then a big time buy. So you probably know where I'm going with this. For the entirety of this week, if that's the behavior that exists, it's the kind of thing where you could maybe just set an alert, a couple of bucks down from wherever the open is on XOM, and just be prepared to pounce. Because, you know, we look for I like mean reversions all the time. I love that setup. So to see that happen more than once on the week and the way it was on Friday, that's certainly something that's going to pique my interest. You know, again, it's just a simple thing. Like it's at 119.5. You could set an alert for if it breaks, say, like 118. And if that happens in the opening candle, you're just waiting for that turn, like that first 15-minute green candle. And look what happened the last two times. Almost couldn't lose. Let's see what's going on with some upgrades, downgrades, and of course, some options plays to start the week, Joe.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Let's get right into it, guys. At the top of the list today on the upgrades and downgrades, we have Stifel Nicholas upgrading Tesla to $508, slightly negative on the session, just a little bit under 1%. And then we have Snowflake also getting the nod as well, too, guys. $310 is going to be that price target, just by a thread, a little bit red, guys. So Bank of America giving the nod there. And then Palo Alto, by BMO Capital Markets, getting that price target raised to $230. It's also reporting after the bell on Wednesday with the king of the chips. You guessed it, that is NVDA. Now CrowdStrike as well, too, guys, getting that nod. $540 is going to be that price target. By Mizuho, slightly red on the session, a little bit of a 0.1%. Now, as for some of the downgrades, we got BJ Wholesalers, Evercore ISI, giving that the lowering that price target to $85. Now, Lucid Motors, obviously, as well, too, guys, obviously, but lowering that price target to $17. Now, Atlas Lithium, HC Wainwright, giving that the lowering that to $12. And Arrow by Mizuho getting the downgrade as well, too, guys, to $25. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a different approach here to the options activity, because I think it's going to be really important. But first, let's zoom out and see what we got going on. Of course, as you can see, we have the SPY. And for those in the world of options, or even if you're looking to get involved, when we are trading common stock, you have to have a directional bias. Well, the beauty about the manipulation of options contract is you don't necessarily have to have a directional bias, but you can have a range based and still make a profitable trade off of that. Now, is it as simplistic as it seems? No, not always. But with this example that I'm going to give you guys here this morning, I think it's really good to note, because when we speak of froth within the market, and then you start to form somewhat of a range in the overall indexes as well, too, we can base trades off of this. And the beauty of the SPY is that we have 0 DTEs, so you can base these trades on a daily basis, weekly, or whatever you feel comfortable with. So with the example that we're going to go over here right now is an iron condor. Now, from a daily perspective, you're going to have a much tighter range, but if you were to step out a couple of time frames, you can broaden that range drastically. But first, let's focus on an intraday iron condor that is going to be expiring today. So what I've established here for you guys is, once again, if you're having those issues with finding a specific direction within your trading, we can eliminate that altogether, and we can base a range trade in an intraday perspective. So at the end of the day, what I have here is, we'll pull this up, and we're going to take a look at our profile. This is called an iron condor. It's essentially a combination of two credit spreads. For those who are familiar with it and those who aren't, it's essentially a bull put spread and a bear call spread combined. Bang, you have your iron condor. But what this allows us to do, as displayed before, is just make a trade, a bet, based off of a specific range without any specific directional bias. So essentially right here, we have a 678 and 683 bear call spread. So you're always gonna write your short call options first. Otherwise, it's going to be a bull call spread. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to accept and receive the premium in which we write these options. So 678, 683, and then we have 663. You always write that call first. So on your put side and your bull put spread, the strike price is going to be higher, and then your protection is going to be lower at 658. So let's take a look at the profile, and then we're going to gauge a little bit more. So essentially what we have is this November 17th expiration. But what this is telling us, if we stay in between 663 and 678, we have the ability to make $100 on this trade. And that's just one contract combination with a probability of profit of 74%. That's relatively high. Well, once again, we would say, Joe, well, why would I want to bet $403 to only make $100? We have to look at your probability of profit, and then that's going to be worst case scenario of 403. You can drastically change that by just putting in your stop limits, and sure enough, you can go at a 1.5 or a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So you're looking to bet $100 or you're looking to lose $150. Either or, that's totally subjective. But the wider the range that you give yourself, the more ability that you're going to have. So at the end of the day, you can make profitable trades without going specifically long or short. This is the range in which you can make it a winning trade. 678, 663. At this time, when the market seems slightly toppy, it's good to be able to just manipulate and diversify your trading systems. And I think when we are at these specific levels in the overall market, iron condors are a pretty good play, guys.
Thank you, Joe. I just want to throw this super chat up here. Oh, did it work? It did. Day Trader LA, thank you. Which software is this that you're using for data? Joe, that's IBKR? Oh, TWS. Yeah, TWS with IBKR. So thank you, Day Trader LA, for that super chat. Appreciate you. I'm actually going to just quickly go to what will be the quickest analysis of all time on one of those downgrades. Lucid, I'm paying for locates right now. It didn't make my list, but then I saw it on the downgrade list and saw what happened on Friday. Wasn't paying attention to the stock. Yeah, I'd have a reason to. Reverse split and did what you would expect a reverse split to do. Tried to squeeze, and then once it turned around, has been in a downtrend for over a month now. So a month and a week, it's been in a downtrend. It broke the reverse split low on Friday, and that's what happened when everything else was rallying. So I'm thinking short first, probably to 14.6. If it happens to move higher, I guess $15. But yeah, that one on the downgrade list piques my interest because these reverse splits, man, all you got to do is wait for the turn and then just play net short over and over and over again. You reverse split for a reason.
Yeah, and I wanted to go actually to another name that's on my watch list and on the sticky note today. And that is Netflix. Netflix's first day split right here today, so our charts are going to be a nightmare. But at the end of the day here, Netflix 108 coming into play as a potential low. So there's Netflix. Just keep that on your radar today as they go post-split right here today. So there it is right here. I wrote down on the note, which is now up 108 for the note here today for Netflix, which comes out post-split today and has bounced off 108 here a couple of times. So let's wait to see. Again, goes 10-1. So that would be
1080.
1080, I guess. Yeah, I guess we got that low, obviously. So right there, 1080. Right now, you're at 11. So we'll have to figure out if that does fall back in here on its first day trading sub $1,000 here off that split. So watch out for some Netflix here today. Down 0.4. Market trying to rebound a little bit, which is pretty nice. It's 9 o'clock. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. Check the sticky note. Check some of our Sharif's note is out as well as the watch list. Neil has stuff out as well. So thanks, Joe, for all of that work. We got to watch out for some Apple here today. Market's trying to climb back a little bit, which is nice to see. So yeah, hopefully some of these levels will start hitting for us, and we'll be able to make some decent opportunities today. Bitcoin going lower, man, just broke 94,000. So watch out for Bitcoin testing that $93,000 low that I saw over the weekend. I think that was where it was, 93 or so. So 93.9 right now down here for BTC. So yeah, all right, let's go back over to the desk and start our rundown.
67.54, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday, or sorry, Friday, on the ES December contract. Look, we're a little bit below it right now. We're at 44 with the overnight high being 34. But the deal is we're looking at 6,700 as that level of support. As you can see, if you kind of zoom in a little bit there, we did breach it on Friday. We dipped down into 66.75, but when all was said and done, we had reclaimed that 6,700 point level. The overnight high, Brendo, 68.01. The way it's looking right now, we may not even touch it. We're going to use that as resistance.
Do we hold key levels of resistance below us? My buttons aren't working. Just imagine you're seeing animation about the watch list here, and we'll continue on that note. If you haven't done so, there's a link in the description below. Grab the watch list, it's free. Tons to talk about, not only today, but coming up this week as well. Remember, the first potential, anyways, taste of employment data later in the week. This week, we get Nvidia, of course, coming up. Alphabet, to start things off here this morning. If you had packed it in early on Friday, you missed a huge move after the close for Alphabet shares. It went from 276 all the way to 286, $10 straight to the upside. After that came out, Berkshire Hathaway disclosing in their 13F a monstrous position here for Google.
Absolutely, it is. It's big, Brendo. You know, big move after the bell as well. So disclosing a fresh stake in the tech giant. They bought, Brendo, 17.85 million Alphabet shares valued at $4.93 billion as of course, September 30th. This is a rare tech purchase from Buffett, as he's more into financials. Let's keep going on here. Why does this matter? Well, because past comments from Buffett and may he rest in peace, Charlie Munger, pointed to regret for not investing earlier in Google. This looks to kind of correct that miss. Berkshire's holdings remain heavily concentrated in financials, as I mentioned, so this marks a meaningful shift towards tech. And although they did cut their position in Apple, Brendo, it still does remain their top tech bet. And Alphabet, just to give you an idea here, 46.5% year-to-date in green.
3 quarters in a row, if you're counting on the Apple side of things, on the sell side for Berkshire, and then this. So maybe a shift, guys, in sentiment for them anyway.
Yeah, well,
it's only, I mean, honestly, I know Sharif started saying that it was a big purchase, like $4.9 billion. It's big, but they're sitting on so much cash.
they have a lot of cash.
That like their position in Google, in Apple is 61 billion shares. So dollar value, sorry. So 61 billion versus 5 billion. You know, it's kind of like just one of those things here for Google and for, I think it was right about, maybe correcting the ship, maybe not being in it yet. But yeah, I don't know. It's nice that it's up here. I would say that's not enough of a story to keep Google high today. I wrote it down that I'm looking long down here into 280. But I just think that for Google, that's all good and well. But like they bought that in, that's the September 30th filing, right? And so if you're going to see here, this is like September 30th right here, 240 to 250. So there's the run up right now. It's not like, these filings are actually telling us that they're actively buying it right now. So I don't think that this creates a floor or a ceiling for the stock. And, if I look at it and I take that news away, Google's probably down today 1% or so, right? I mean, the Nasdaq, many of these names are down. I don't know if it'll be down 1%, but it might be down today at some point. So I actually think Google is a fade from this level. And let's just bring it right back to where I think it should be, and that is right around here, 282. Right where this news sort of happened, we got 278 up to 282. I think we land back into here. I don't think it's a great story for Google. You have somebody else buying 4.9 billion shares. But if I ask Perplexity right now, there's going to be many shareholders greater than 4.9 billion shares. So I'm not that wound up in this purchase at all. I mean, they've been really wrong a lot, and I just want to follow strong names, and Google's a super strong name, so I want to buy it on dips regardless of what Berkshire is doing. I own Berkshire shares and I own Google shares. So I'm happy with both of this story for both of them. And I think this 282, it is the #1 trade idea that I have on the sticky note today, buying Google down here at 282. So let's see if we can get into that area, and we'll be sitting there for some buys. But I definitely think we get into this area. Like, I don't think this is enough news to rip this stock. If the market goes, then fine. But I don't, right now, being underneath everything, I definitely not buying these levels, from me personally, right now on Google.
Given how small relatively the stake is, I feel like this could be more of the beginning salvo than anything else. So therefore, like, all of a sudden, I'll really like this stock if it gets down to like the 50-period moving average, kind of figuring, well, now maybe Berkshire is building a position in with all of that free cash. Obviously, we're not going to see anything like that today, but I think it could put, like, if we do get another market dip, it could put a nice little floor because you have an implicit potential buyer in here. Now, for me, there's only two places to look at. There's Thursdays where it dropped down 284. That'll be the first shot if it can revert there, or it's all the way down at 280 to 281. So I'm just looking for both of those gap fills. I have it on the same way in my note. I'm willing to take a couple of levels as a shot. But I do like what this might mean for the long term. They have so much cash that if they see this as a value, I find it hard to believe this gets back to the 50 period, Berkshire wouldn't pull the trigger again. So I think we'll watch out for this next quarter to see if they don't increase their stake again and look for some buy the dip opportunities.
Let's go on to NVIDIA. To the downside we go here. This one a little bit relatively weak compared to not only what happened on Friday, but the overall market as of this point. Anyways, so far this morning. Coming up Wednesday, we'll get NVIDIA's latest report after the bell. That's going to be the big headliner for the week.
Oh God, yeah, there's so much riding on this, like with the whole AI bubble talk, Brendo. Can't wait to get that out of the way. Let's talk about the headline today. Jensen Huang disclosing $500 billion in combined 2025, 2026 orders covering Blackwell GPUs, the next-gen Rubin GPUs, as well, of course, as networking components. It implies another year of explosive growth, though at a slower pace than the 600% that we surged over the last 4 years. So, you know, reasonable expectations. Wolf Research chiming in today, estimating data center sales could exceed the prior 2026 guide of $60 billion. We'll keep an eye out on that. Q3 earnings forecast. Here's what we're expecting, Brendo. $1.25 on EPS, $54.83 billion on revenue, which would, if met, account for a 56% jump year over year on that top line number. The guidance estimate, of course, very important for Q4, which is January. They're looking for a top line number. They're just shy of $62 billion, 61.88. And Nvidia, Brendo, they're not going to guide past one quarter, so we're just going to see one quarter at a time with respect to guidance. But we know a lot about what they're doing. Their deals. They've announced so many different deals. OpenAI, NVIDIA is going to invest up to $10 billion in exchange, of course, for OpenAI buying 4 to 5 million GPUs. The Intel deal as well, $5 billion there. Nokia stake, $1 billion to integrate GPUs. The China headline, though, remains very, very tough. As we know, the China-targeted H20 chips were effectively blocked by the Chinese regulator, and we haven't heard anything about that B30A, which is supposed to be that China variant off Blackwell.
A lot of question marks to be answered, potentially anyways, coming up on Wednesday, as we said, with Google and Berkshire. It's 13F season once again, so you're going to get a lot of filings showing buys and sells of different positioning. We've talked about NVIDIA as well on this, or from this standpoint, going back the past couple of weeks. Remember, SoftBank exited all of their NVIDIA holdings. We had Michael Burry disclosing a negative position against not only NVIDIA, but Palantir as well. Now, Peter Thiel, guys, comes out with their 13F. So Thiel Macro LLC sold 537,742 shares worth about $100 million at the close on September 30th, which is that candle. So at the time, new high for NVIDIA. He was out at the close there, guys.
So a lot of people taking profit in this space. And on come Wednesday, it's going to be a big deal, not just for NVIDIA, but remember, lots at stake for Oracle. We'll move on that one big time. I might even you might say that like a much more is at stake for Oracle, because if there's weakness in Nvidia, like that's like there's a few stocks that are in a world of hurt, and Oracle probably one of them. NVDA, look, Friday, we kind of went over this with AMD and Nvidia, how Nvidia was able to rally, hold all the way to 191, and now you've got a little bit of a wall there. You've got a support at a 185. It's kind of dancing in the middle, whereas AMD was unable to hold on to those gains that from the lows, ended up rejecting that 250 level. So AMD was, I mean, obviously, like it was a 250. It was a 250 breakdown early, just after lunchtime, and then there was a 250 kind of retest during power hour. So that's the line I'm looking for, like short underneath the 250 level. Obviously, if Nvidia starts breaking out, there might be a reversal type of play, but I'm looking at this one in particular instead of Nvidia, at least for today. And the earnings come on Wednesday. As I said, you know, we always key in on Nvidia, but I think there's a lot at stake, as I mentioned, for Oracle here. Like everything else, it rallied pretty well, now down 1%. But this is the name that got beat up the most from some of those highs, right? And everyone keeps talking about the circular nature of everything. Well, they're at the forefront with that big OpenAI guidance. And they're underneath that. They're at the 200 period moving average. This might actually be the stock to moving watch after Wednesday. Because if this loses the 200 period, that's nasty. It's already lost a third of its value since that OpenAI guidance. And come Wednesday, Oracle, they're the one that catches a stray if Nvidia has a bad report.
Yeah, Oracle, I'll never forget that one. That was, I don't know how we got out of that. That was a good trade. I think there's so much negativity around Nvidia that it could be an absolute monster. You know, all they have to do is report a little bit better than what we expect and guide a little bit better. And I think Nvidia absolutely rips Wednesday night. Like, but it has to beat. And I don't know, to sit here and predict what's going to wind up happening, who knows? But there's so much fear right now in the greatest stock of all time that you would think it's probably overdone. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening. I mean, they can't produce enough chips. We saw that backlog. The demand is unreal right now. So you have a stock that has unreal demand with decent valuation. I mean, obviously, people are going to consider every stock overvalued in this environment, it seems like. Everything I hear, you know, oh, the P is too high, this and that. But right now, for AMD, for Nvidia, it's underneath the valuation of an AMD. It's come nicely back in here since they made an all-time high at 212. Now you're at 180, so you're down 10% plus on this name right now. And I think why not take the other side of this thing, you know, and say, what if we do get that little bit of a better guide and we have to up our numbers? You know, the street has to up their expectation. Price target upgrades, P multiples have to change. So yeah, let's hope for the best. But really, you're at the 50-period moving average, and there's a lot of traders out there. We saw Michael Burry. We talked about that with him. We saw Peter Thiel now. Jensen threw some shade at China versus United States as well. Alibaba had some great news about their AI. Obviously, they had some bad news about their military, and obviously this is the risk about investing in China, as we say that all the time. I recently bought some Alibaba shares down here. Let's just pretend like Nvidia maybe winds up beating. And if they do, then what's going to happen? Because there's a lot of traders that have gotten out of this name thinking it was going to be the other way around. I think it could be a monster rip on Wednesday night, Thursday morning for Nvidia. But again, I can't predict the numbers. I just think the setup is right for these guys to go up. I wouldn't be, I think if you haven't sold now, I mean, unless you really want to sell down 10, 12%, fine. But, you know, getting out of part of your position, I don't think is a horrible idea. You know, the SMH was just at all-time highs like 2 weeks ago with this stock as well. So I would say watch out here for Nvidia, possible ripper on Wednesday, man. I just got to think the other way sometimes when there's so much negativity, potentially it's overdone. So let's just slow down on it for now. I don't have a trade on my mind today for Nvidia, but we'll definitely be looking at it. Instead, I'm looking short the Qs, short Apple, long Netflix, long Google. So Yeah, NVIDIA should be an interesting one. I'm excited for this report on Wednesday.
Let's go on to crypto here. If you just have a look at IBIT to start things off, go to this high. We're down here so far this morning. 25% now off the highs here for IBIT specifically. Obviously hasn't been a good couple of weeks here for Bitcoin.
Exactly, but I know you took the words out of my mouth. 25% off that 126 all-time high, falling below 95,000 and erasing almost all the year-to-date gains, if not more so far. This marks one of the biggest unwindings in a momentum-driven market this year. Experts, though, they cite a two-stage sell-off. They're saying first, it was macro-driven. Then the forced liquidation started cascading that flushed billions in leveraged positions. I'm going to pause for a second. Did you know that some of these exchanges have like 1,000 times leverage? It's insane. Some of we were, Joseph and I on the midday, we were interacting back and forth with the chat as we typically do, and the chat was letting us know, but all these products we didn't know existed south of the border, of course. We verified it, and so the leverage being taken here on crypto, Brendo, is just eye-watering. The regulators got to get involved somehow. This is just too much. Let's continue here. The turning point, according to analysts, came October 10th, when renewed U.S.-China trade tensions triggered an immediate sell-off. In the days that follow, liquidity evaporated and forced liquidations accelerated the drop. ETH as well, not spared, down 35%, Brendo, from its August highs. And the post-crash liquidity remains extremely shallow. Even a small routine trade can cause price swings, according to Presto Research. But BTC saw over $100 billion of inflows after the approval of the ETFs. But macro tightening has now slowed institutional interest dramatically, and outflows are starting to emerge.
I want to, that all being said, let's give some perspective here. If you zoom out again, go out to a weekly chart of Bitcoin itself. This is just IBIT. I just want to highlight a couple of things here. This is 32% on a pullback when that happened. If we go to this one, this was exactly 30% on a pullback when that one happened. If you go to the latest, as we said, we're sitting here at 25%. So as we've all been witness to over the past years, this is how Bitcoin tends to trade. So we're not even, 5% more possible here based on the last two from a technical standpoint is realistic.
And all I saw when you put that chart, Brendo, were the higher highs and the higher lows. Yeah. That's kind of what caught my attention.
Overall, we're still going up, guys.
True. Look, on Friday, I thought we'd retest this support line on the weekend. Got really, really close. And then we had this trend line drawn. It's like, okay, well, there's a support line. You could also like test and break the trend. I guess technically it got there, but I kind of feel like we haven't really even seen it. Like it's really 91 that feels like it would be the spot for a bounce if there is any, or some kind of a consolidation. So there's like a little bit more room to go. I just want to look at it as if we're under 95, 95, 96, there's a 15-minute, right? Like it's actually the 96 level, and the 95 it kind of rolled over. But as long as we're underneath those two lines, I still kind of feel like we're going to at least test that 90 to 91. So on the way up, like I'd be looking for some faith. I just feel like on Friday I preferred Mara if we got up there. So if we get to 95, I'm much more likely to try to catch like a reversal trade like we did on Friday with Mara, because Mara just didn't break out. When everything else was recovering, like this actually stayed red underneath Thursday's close. So Bitcoin gets up there to that 95, 96 and curls, I know the name that I want to go short, and it's going to be Mara instead of BTC.
Okay, so look, you have to be really upset with Bitcoin if you're an investor in Bitcoin. There's nothing else I can say. This is the S&P 500. They're up 13 to 14% year to date so far, right? Bitcoin is just now getting to flat on the year. So you've missed out. Sure, if you've been in for this whole ride, here's the beginning of the year right here. This is early January. Whether or not we take this means we're way down, or we could take this as the 12th. In here, it's this level right here. This is Jan 1st. Let's call it 98,000 on January 1st. So you're at least 13% right now behind the S&P 500. At least. All you had to do was buy SPY, and you'd be up 13%. Instead, you're down 3%. So it's minus 16% so far year to date against the most basic of investing. So obviously, if you're holding Bitcoin, I guess you're waiting for a much bigger move to get back up to the upside. Even if it gets to 124, then you're still just catching up with the S&P 500 again. So I mean, you have to be really disappointed, obviously, if you're an investor this year with crypto, but you could do worse. There's some stocks that probably are worse than Bitcoin, but not major names. And I think that's where the disappointment lies, is just you're waiting for it to finally base out. And right now, as Neil mentioned, I don't think that really looks like too much to do until you at least have a look down into here, which is low 80s. Like, I think everybody hopes it doesn't get there. But this year so far, Bitcoin's been a huge disappointment. And anybody that's been invested in it would obviously understand that. So without giving a yield, without giving anything to you, it's a problem. So yeah, I'd like to see this turn green for the year at some point. And maybe we get that soon. I just like to see it hold 100. Like, I think the next time we go through 100, that we could see some of the psychological damage is done. So everyone that held through 100 now will be able to, look back and say, okay, we've sort of done that before. Now let's see if we can retest that all-time high. So it really needs to hold out. I mean, even like IBIT, 71 down to 53. Like, this was supposed to be Uptober, and it was big time downtober. And now November, hopefully that will be a decent hold for them as well. But you're going all the way back here to November last year levels right now on crypto. So yeah, big disappointment for anybody holding BTC. But I mean, it's better than holding MSTR. It's better than holding BMNR. It's better than holding Mara, anything like that, on the year. The fact that you're even flat on the year is pretty good right now for Bitcoin. MSTR right now down about, it was about 350 Jan 1st, down to 197. Look, I'm long crypto and want to keep buying it, but it looks pretty bad, and I'm glad that it's a smaller percentage of the portfolio right now. You've just given up so much of the year holding on to Bitcoin. So glad I don't have a whole bunch of it, but still sad because obviously it's a part of the portfolio, so I'd like to see it appreciate. I just don't have good feels for it right now. I'd like to see it. I don't really want to do anything until it gets back above 100, honestly. I feel like that would be the
73.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, even to buy, like 73 is 25% from
But that's
here.
the support level.
Yeah, I know. So that would,
I kind of look at it, I just look at it
that would
way.
put it down 45%. I know.
With Bitcoin, it's like, if you're not stomaching 40%
Right.
pullbacks and willing to buy them in the long run, then what do you do with it? It's not like Apple.
No, that's for sure.
Still monster if you zoom out to a weekly chart here for Apple. I mentioned that Peter Thiel note for NVIDIA we were talking about. He also actually added to his Apple position. Again, this is Q3, so remember, anytime you see something with a 13F attached to it, we're looking in the past, in some cases significantly. So he added 79,181 shares of Apple and 49,000 of Microsoft too. So buying others, definitely.
Yeah, not a bad look for Peter Thiel. A couple of headlines today on Apple, guys. One, obviously, the succession plan. The other one we're going to get to is Massimo and that whole International Trade Commission thing again. So Apple has intensified internal succession planning, preparing for Tim Cook, of course, to potentially step down as CEO as early as next year. This is being reported by the Financial Times. No confirmation, of course, from the company. John Teranos, Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, is viewed as a leading candidate. He's Cook's most trusted and operationally aligned lieutenant. The company's unlikely, though, to name a successor before the January earnings, and CEO Cook, as we know, has been at the helm since 2011. Let's get to the ITC case now. So the International Trade Commission has launched new proceedings to decide whether Apple's updated watch models should be banned over alleged Massimo patent infringement. The investigation is set to conclude within 6 months. No information as of yet, but we know that this is the on-again, off-again Apple Massimo war brand. Apple and Massimo, they've been fighting across multiple courtrooms, multiple agencies, and a federal jury in Santa Ana ruled, that Apple owes Massimo $634 million for infringing on that pulse oximetry patent. I tried.
One of those. I was just checking here. Tim Cook, 65 years old.
Oh, that's probably why.
Just turned 65 years old, November 1st. So we're getting there.
Wow, he's been at the helm since 2011,
long time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that though, guys.
No.
65 for Tim Cook.
I think that's probably young for an average CEO, probably.
Yeah,
I would say in the space, maybe.
Well,
I mean,
depending on the maturity of the company.
Yeah, but that's,
So.
I mean, if you told me he's 65, I think he'd have 15 more years. But obviously, if he's going to retire, I mean, this guy's sitting on how much cash?
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know what, we always complain that, like, you know, you want to get some more innovation, you know. So if you do not kick him out, but if you get a new CEO coming through, potentially it'll spark some of that. So I think it's a story for Apple, but not a major one.
But like, why is it down 1.4?
Well, I mean, the market is, it's a bellwether of the market, really, at the end of the day.
It's a little weird to me because the Nasdaq's down a quarter. The Massimo story, $634 million is nothing. So to me, it shouldn't be down because of that. Maybe it is because of this succession story. That said, you're buying the dip on this. I drew a trend line. I don't know if we get down there. It wasn't, I didn't think it was high enough probability to put on the note, to be honest with you. But you get to the mid 260s, and then you're talking about trend support, and you get 2 weeks ago, I guess, is the bottom here at 266. I'd be looking at those two levels. I just kind of feel like that story shouldn't be enough to drag it down. So if the market's not falling all over itself, this one should be a dip buy. Neither one of those two headlines scream to me that it should be leading the market downside.
We didn't even address this, but thank you so much to Day Trader LA for $50 there with coffee money. I said that we'd get some coffee around here, so thank you so much for that one there. Yeah, we got $50, Randy, so we can go get some coffee. But I know you just refilled us with that sweet Italian cream there, as well as thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. So that means a lot. Thank you so much for that. And everybody can now become a member there. It's just $5 a month, but we want to thank you so much, Day Trader. Day Trader LA, who took the World Series down there. So thank you for always reminding us of that as well.
Yep.
But there goes Apple. Yeah, like I said, I think that's, I might have guessed he was a little older than that, but at the end of the day, I think Apple just a bellwether for the company, for the market. The market's been getting hit. Apple's still near or pretty close to its all-time highs right now. Simple pullbacks in stocks are healthy. And right now, until we get another story for Apple, yeah, I do think that's potentially back down here into 255, like back into the 50-period moving average. Look, we've really liked the 50-period moving average since the summer. We respected it there, most likely there again if you play it back, and most likely there again. So why not have another little bit of a pullback? I mean, Apple goes through its peaks and troughs, and right now it's just at one of the peaks. So I think it's potentially setting up for a trough. So yeah, I think you got to be really happy if you're investing into Apple. Right now, we did hear the trimming. We talked about the first story there be with Google. They actually trimmed more shares of Apple than they bought of Google.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go back over there and see what winds up happening now with Tesla. It's a mega cap board today.
Yeah, Tesla back to the downside here, although we're just hanging out around 400, so it could be a key level to watch. 400 on the nose, but China-related story here for Tesla today.
Yeah, exactly, Brendo. Tesla's now formally requiring all of their suppliers to eliminate China-made components from vehicles that are built in the United States. This is being reported by the Wall Street Journal. The company's already swapped out some Chinese parts, and they plan to complete the entire transition between 12 to 24 months. Executives at the company, while they've struggled with unpredictable U.S.-China tariffs amid the ongoing trade war, Tesla began boosting North American sourcing as late as 2 years ago, but the pace has really accelerated as the trade war has really picked up. And we know that China production as well not looking good in China, Brendo, for Tesla. Tesla's China Passenger Car Association data shows China-made sales are down 9.9% year over year in the month of October, just below 61,500 units, reversing the small gain in September. But a lot of people were crediting that gain to the extended Model L, the Model YL, excuse me, which has 3 rows and longer range.
Speaking of China, XPeng, worth noting, reported as well. A loss, once again, for XPeng, but much better than expected delivery numbers. Downside here for XPeng today, too, guys.
Yes, and there was an imbalance on Rivian of 2 million shares. It is subsequently paired off with less than 1 minute to go. I'm actually not looking at Tesla today. I think the 400 level is a big one. Obviously, that's a big over-under type level, but I like JD in the China space. And we'll talk about the nuts and bolts of the Alibaba story and JD, but most people know what happened with Alibaba and JD. All the Chinese names blowing to the downside on that U.S. government accusing them of helping, BABA specifically, of helping the Chinese military. I'm shorting this one to 30. That'll be the look for me. I'm not really looking at Tesla too much today.
All right, here we go with only 15 seconds left. Yeah, no, I mean, Tesla at 400, I mean, obviously going to be a key level. We did see 380 not too long ago. Remember, this opening bell is brought to you by Orogenic. So please check them out, OGen, and we want to thank them for their continued sponsorship. Of course, the concussion business is a serious one. So check out OGen immediately for that. All right, the market's now open. And here we go, man. Get ready for a little bit of blood in the street, it looks like anyways. Nasdaq opening the day down 0.4. ES opening the day down 0.4 as well. We didn't have a look at gold. Gold was teetering earlier this morning as well. Yeah, 375. So back and forth here with gold as we wait to see what 375 has to do with it. Good morning, Adara. Good to see you. All right, so Google upside right there. As we had mentioned, you know, like, I didn't think that this was going to be a huge story for Google, the Berkshire fact, but it is going the opposite of the market right now. The market is coming back down in, and Google's trying to make new highs. Well, I mean, pre-market highs anyways, into 287. So watch out there. There goes Google. So nice move into VWAP right now. Potentially a short area, but I mean, I don't know if we want to go short right now on Google as it's been ripping. I mean, imagine if this market finally turns itself around. I'm going to guess, Neil, that maybe it's Nvidia, but the market.
And AMD.
Yeah, there it goes, down to 185. So as we had mentioned here, I think it's wrong to sell Nvidia ahead of earnings unless you're just overexposed here to this stock. But we'll see if it does make a little bit of a dip here into 185 for Nvidia. So I'm just waiting for Google, Apple, the Qs, and Netflix as well.
Yeah, Netflix moving. Oh, by the way, QUBT reported on Friday they were a big gap up. Well, not so much anymore. And only 4% to the upside now. They had a bit of a surprise profit. They are filling in the gap in an absolutely gigantic way. As you mentioned, Google already going up there. Nvidia and Advanced Micro Devices both heading to the south side. It's an initial sell here. Look for, I wanted 250 short. Obviously, it's not going to pop. I might look at VWAP as an alternative or the 244 level here on AMD. JD is approaching 30, so might be able to get that one to the south side. And we did think
Apple really fell.
Yeah, I mean, look, Apple actually has a chance to get down there into those mid 260s, so they are selling it off. Regardless of what you think of either one of those catalysts here today, Apple headed 2% to the downside early. Just a reminder, it's 66, which is this prior support. That's the first place I'm going to look for a shot there. Funny, first position might actually end up being JD.com for the first time in ever.
All right, we're seeing a little bit of a move up here, a great move up here in the Nasdaq as we just ripped to 25,000 again. We touched 23,000 there on Friday. Of course, I was not here, but I was watching the market. It was really nasty early, of course, and then battled back all day. So to turn positive just at the end. But there goes Nasdaq and Netflix. Netflix now up 0.32, but it's the TQs that are really starting to make it sing here a little bit. I'm looking to go short 104.50 actually. The 200 period moving average here on the TQs. We'll take a little bit of a spot there around 104.50 into 105 right now. Trying to take advantage of this pop up, but not trying to get involved too early here. It's only 9:32 right now, but the market's trying to battle back, which is nice to see. Going red to green right now would put me short. So here it comes right back upside. I'm going to take a little bit here just in case. So like a quarter of a unit here. I'm waiting at 104.50 just to start this short, but we'll get I guess we'll get a start right now at 104.39. But again, not a huge position right now to start with. You know what? I'm going to put on just a little bit more here at 25. Did we get that? Yes. Okay. So now we have this position on as we have the Nasdaq just ripping up just a little bit, right? So we wanted to try to short that, but the level that we wrote down was 105 to 106. Just trying to see about that top right into here. That would be 107. So we got a little bit of work to do here as we climb up into this 105, which is the 50 period. So let's just slow down our thought here on the TQs. First position is a short. So let's give it a moment here as Apple coming right back upside as well.
Yeah, Apple bouncing, Nvidia bouncing, Google still looking strong. I did get short in front of 30 on JD. Probably the last time. This will be the first stock ever traded for myself because they report. That's fine. But you're also going to see, I got to show you guys what's happening as well with Alibaba, as not as much strength in Alibaba from what I'm seeing. So I got to watch this one. Obviously, if Baba catches up, it can lead JD.com easily and then start to blow that one to the upside. So as this one breaks higher, I do have a stop above 30. But if I see this one absolutely flying, I can just punch out of it right away. SanDisk is making some power moves. The chip name that I was watching or am watching is AMD. That's back into VWAP here. So it's at the volume weighted average price. 250 was a level I like short. If VWAP fails, then I take a shot at the volume weighted average price as well. So AMD, NVIDIA, Google's a real strong one, almost 5% to the upside. Is that's about to hit 290? That is correct. Alphabet is 290 right now.
What did I write down?
What a
here?
breakout.
106 short. Okay, yeah, so we just, just hit the sides up. I got one position right now, 104.40s here on the NASDAQ as we just climbed into the 50-period moving average. So we wanted to get some 50s there short. I'm going to short some more at 75. Like the bigger position has to come on at the levels that I like. So, I don't know if anybody else is thinking this, but the NASDAQ right now is really starting to rip up right now. It's probably the futures led by, we're going to go back over to some stocks, but Google for sure there as the ES also right now 0.1 and starting to go upside there. A name that I wanted to, so it's a good thing we just shorted a little bit more up there. We didn't get everything we wanted at 75, but right there, so far so good on that one. I see JD came out, but now you're into AMD. So
yeah,
a couple of different names. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
VWAP for AMD came in, but JD blew the top the same time as Alibaba did. So I'm out of JD, but back into AMD at the volume weighted average price. It's just this support level in here, playing it into that one. The 45, kind of the area you got 44s in currently. But it is the Google show right now, everybody, that's looking the strongest. And that's leading the way, more so than at least a couple of the chip names. Here's Nvidia showing some strength, but look at what is happening in some of the memory names. Load up. Micron. Absolutely ham in Micron right now. Like this stock is going absolutely crazy, just on a different level. SNDK going power moves as well. So a much bigger move happening when you look at the data type name. SNDK, of course, was like almost a squeeze name the last couple of weeks. They're absolutely blowing it out. So NASDAQ headed higher, but it's led by the memory chip names, believe it or not.
All right, so, I believe it. Right now, we're just... we're finally at our levels. So we have 104.65s. Oops, sorry, that's SoFi. I actually want to look at SoFi too. I wanted to buy the dips. Like I am sitting on some powder, a little bit of powder anyways. As you guys know, we bought Alibaba there at 160 the other day, which is right where it's at, or it's close to where it's at right now. Wish we would have got those 150s, but all right. So that SoFi could be another situation here. All right, just a quick little talk now because here we go. We just get a little bit of a fill upside now as we've learned our lesson. I never know which levels are right to short, obviously, but if I'm going to think short, like right now, you're finally at VWAP for the NASDAQ. So these are the levels here where we should be actually thinking about putting, a little bit more on if we actually believe in the short. And look, we could take an L. I didn't think the market was going to rally this way. Up 0.3 right now as here we go. We had written down between 105 to 106 is kind of where we wanted to start this. But as I could see, AMD, NVIDIA, all... Yeah, go ahead.
You got to come to this chart. I was just getting filled at 44.
Oh, yeah?
2 seconds ago. Maybe like 10, 15 seconds ago, we're getting some shares out underneath VWAP, and then the next minute you're blowing out the 45 level. Like that's a crazy, crazy buy. That means hands off and a little bit of patience because just as it's starting to work into the downside is exactly when they just blew out the tops. 250 is it's $5 away. So if I'm trading it again, it's probably in the 50 range or we're selling underneath that volume weighted average price. Oh, by the way, Bitcoin for everybody out there, this is also screaming to the upside. What did we just hit? 95.6 for everybody, but look at that topping tail starting to come in. Well, I said if we fail highs, it's not Bitcoin that I prefer short. It's Mara. I'd rather be looking at Mara for weakness based on what I saw on Friday. Mara was the only short on Friday that was pretty much a good short the entire day when you were catching some of these topping tails. Not Bitcoin, but Mara for myself.
All right, we're still short 105. I only have this one trade on right now, and it's just so stupid because we had written down here on our. It's not so stupid. This is what pricing does for you. Unfortunately, I gotta sometimes be a little more patient. Right there, we write down 105 to 106 here on the TQQs. So we have to wait now to see because I should be short at 105.50. Literally where we're at right now. Instead, we're short at 105. So I'm about 50 cents off right now on that one. Netflix, Apple short, Google long. So those trades have really come through. But if we like the Apple short, then obviously the Nasdaq's going to have to come back in because I'm not going to go ahead and now short this as well as the Nasdaq. But this name short looks fine too. Like maybe we're right with Apple, but wrong with the index. That could be true. I mean, you're still under the 50-period moving average right now. Let me take a quick look because JP Morgan, I mean, this is getting hit pretty good too, right? This was at 320 not too long ago. Now you're down to 304, like a nice active move down from Thursday, Friday in the financials here. So it's not just some of these big cap tech names that continue to go one way, right? It's the financials are also downside there as well. And the names like SMR, you can throw that super chat up whenever you want. Names like SMR as well continue to bleed to the downside here. I don't even know what that is. IMSR. Terrestrial energy, long term. Then who did this? Justin, man. I don't know. For long term, I have no idea. I don't know what this company is. It looks like it might have been a recent IPO. If this is a recent IPO, you got to take that off there so I can show the chart. Yeah, thanks. If this is a recent IPO, obviously it's not performing that well. So I would say give it a second. And we'll have to look. An IMSR, thanks for the super chat, but for right now, this name to me is only 100,000 shares. I'm gonna have to look at something else and not right now because we are watching out for right now. I know it's been a couple shorts for you, and I just have this one short now, and it's definitely not working out. So we got to watch out for 106 right now to the high zone. That's sort of the area that we had marked down here as the top, and it looks like we're trying to get there, man. The Nasdaq, basically straight up. We had one down candle right off the open. And then it's been like 7 or 8 straight upside or 11 straight upside.
It's reminding me of Friday in the same, and it's almost exactly the same way. The only difference was on Friday in the same situation, I had already gotten Mara a couple times, and this time I'm not actually filled. I tried to look into that IMSR, but in 2 seconds, I couldn't even figure out what they do. So that's the kind of thing we can revisit a little bit later when things slow down, and not a lot of catalysts going for it there. But I do still like Mara, despite the fact that Bitcoin was strong. Bitcoin's starting to pull back. There's IBIT. You made a bit of a topping tail. So while we're screaming higher in some places, not happening over in BTC. What I can tell you is AMD, since breaking 45, wants 50. So we're shorted in front of that 45.
Oh,
it's a couple of dollars away from that 250 level. It's starting to go absolutely ham to set upside. Google's still looking strong, but right now my focus is going to be on crypto and specifically Bitcoin. I don't want to be chasing this underneath the volume weighted average price, but I will if I have to here on
Oh, boo. That's okay. I put the wrong price on TQs to get out. I was trying to get out at 106. And I put 105 by accident, so I punched out and had to get back in. So I have a similar price that I had before, but I didn't mean to get out there. Humbug. Okay, well anyways, a little bit of a different price now as we come back in, but we still do have this on. So, oh man, that is disappointing for me, but okay. We did buy some back there and we put some back on. So it's roughly the same kind of a trade here. I think we had 60s and now we have 53s. So it's okay, but oh yeah, because remember we had 60s and I said we're about halfway. All right, it doesn't matter, it's back, but that was just a mistake. Did not mean to cover that. So if you're seeing a different price, so I'll just put that in right now. I wanted 106.11s or so, like a break up there of 106. Let's get out to 75%. If that happens, I bought by accident. I put 105.11 last time, I guess so, or I just missed the key. But here it comes back up, so no harm, no foul right now as the market didn't actually go down there. So let's get a little bit more if it comes back up into those highs one more time, which it's trying to do right now. So we'll average some more back in right here on this trade and then just wait to see as the market did, wow, it did go for a dip there, but then just ripped right back up. So I guess, oh man, it's too bad we reloaded. I meant to cover there. No, we didn't. But here it comes right back up to the upside now. So it looks like the Nasdaq wanted to go for a little bit of a dip there, but only got back to 105.20. So we did put a positive trade on at one point, but this move higher right now is putting us back out of the money there. So if you covered there, that was good. Remember where we were initially short? 105.50. So that was our average price, and that's where we are right now again. So it looks like we'll take about maybe a 50 or 60 cent hit if we wind up getting hit on this one.
I see everyone's doing what they're supposed to.
Good.
They're putting in that $sign because Tesla's number one on the list by a long shot. So I'm going to throw you guys a stock visualizer in here. Tesla, number one. Nvidia, META, BTC. Actually looking at crypto right now, obviously. Alphabet, Netflix. Remember, make sure you type $ when you put a symbol into the chat. That way we know what the hottest symbols are that you guys are interested in. Relative weakness, I'm just going to get this out of the way now. Relative weakness in SMCI. Every single day, with the exception of Friday, it was a short. Specifically, you could short it at VWAP if it failed VWAP at the open. It just did so now. I'm going to pay for locates and be able to grab that one on the short side. Tesla trying to blow out Friday's top. It's not there yet, but it looking incredibly strong relative to the rest of the market. Because I think we're losing VWAP on the Nasdaq. And when I see relative weakness in SMCI, this is the stock as well. If I don't get MAR, which I'm still sitting at VWAP for. So shout out to everyone in the chat that mentioned that. Tesla, one of the strongest names out there. I don't want to say the strongest. Alphabet, obviously, is having a pretty good day itself.
All right, we just covered some more down here, basically at the same price as last time, 105.40 or so, and then the move stopped. So we were getting a lot lower there for a minute, and then it was not. So I don't know, there seems to be some buyers here on the Nasdaq. We'll see if it continues to go a little bit lower than where we are right now. You guys know where we have are out scheduled. I did want to quickly look to see what was going on in the broader markets just a little bit here, because we talked about the Nasdaq, primarily all Nasdaq names right here today, but there's Google. What a day for Google, man, up 5.5% there. That's awesome. We love that in the portfolio. Eli Lilly down a little bit, down 0.6 today. Amazon still down 1%. Costco is pretty much, for Costco purposes, it's like in a free fall. It's just because it hasn't bounced yet. But this 900 should be pretty interesting as we got retail earnings this week. So we can have a check on Home Depot coming tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow morning or something. Home Depot coming up, and then we have Target and all the rest. So the retail spot could definitely be looking at that this week. There's Home Depot right there again. So the future's just ripped up there. So I don't know if you were short anything, but we might have a good opportunity to get back into the short.
Somehow didn't get I got Mara, but not SMCI. It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, okay.
SMCI doesn't really pop enough to get me in. There was a. Oh, I thought I saw something on my Halt scanner.
Ripping again.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. Ryan O'Day. Can we put that super chat up, if you could, very quickly for us, because I don't have the page up. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Mondays are officially moon days.
Ooh.
You have a key for that. I'd like us to, I mean, we're 0.4%. We get to 1.5, and I think you can say moon at that point. A little bit early, but it is looking incredibly strong so far. I'm just kind of dividing things up. The market is taking out, the NASDAQ, I should say, is taking out the high right now. Anything that is putting in a lower high, to me, that was on my list, is okay for a short. Otherwise, I should be looking for long trades. Alphabet was the one that I liked, and it's not even at VWAP. It's not really giving you much of anything to work off of for the long, outside of the pre-market highs. Right here at like 290.60. So really, that's all you got, unless it's the volume-weighted average price. I'm going to let the 15-minute. I mean, we just had a 15-minute candle bar close, but it doesn't really set up for a long trade unless we get to VWAP. So I'm looking at VWAP right now on Google specifically, and SMCI just came in, and we have some Mara as well. Apple, by the way, I don't know about that headline, but they're shrugging it off. Apple now participating in this bounce. Yeah, that never really seemed like the kind of catalyst, the succession plan, or that $634 million to Massimo. Like, that falls out of their pocket on a given day.
Yeah, that seems, I'm still going to try to short this, but yeah, I wrote down 272, so we just bounced off of 270 there. So yeah, we got out of 75% of, I mean, it's a good thing we had a couple outs here, but we definitely don't have many outs here for the NASDAQ, but we're still holding on to a small piece. Let's see if it can turn itself around. So just hold on a second here, we got it right now. Okay, so just make sure you do scan that QR code as they continue to sponsor our segment, and it's Global X by Beta Pro, Beta Pro by Global X. It's their 3 times daily levered ETF. So this is something to take a look at. If you are invested here in Canada, they have 3 times bull and 3 times bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, and U.S. Treasuries. They're also offering a discount into the year end, 65 basis points management fees until December the 31st. Pure performance on their hedging versus the U.S. dollar. So make sure you check them out. It is betapro.ca times 3x daily to learn more, and please scan that QR code or check the link in description for all of that. I was going to try to go against just fell back in. I did put an order in here to get some Apple against 270 right there, that 200 period moving average, which we just bounced against. So if it breaks above that, we'll get out. So 270, a little break. We're not in position yet, but we will take a position if it comes up to 269, right around here, right where we just were, 269.70 or so. VWAP, if we can grab that fill on Apple, then we'll take that short. But yeah, the Nasdaq was straight upside there and broke higher. Now we have a little bit of a wick top, but not on too much volume profile there. So interesting to see what winds up happening right now with the TQQs. Super chat apparently.
I think it's the one that was very quickly up there.
Okay.
We'll try to get. Thank you again, Justin. I believe you were asking about that integral molten salt reactor.
Oh, that's what it was.
They're modular, operated as yada is a bonus. You get industrial grade, which is needed for hydrogen fuel production. Thank you. Always kill it. So,
appreciate that.
I'm kind of with you in the space. I just don't know. Again, like this is the first time I've heard of them. So to sit there and say that, oh, this is fantastic, I can't necessarily go there. That sounds interesting. However, like, what are the nuts and bolts? Like how far are we away from actually producing anything? Because like, when I see an IPO that's done this, my first thought is until it actually holds a low and makes some higher lows, you know you're in at the wrong spot because everyone's just trying to figure out price here. So assuming that this just recently came to market, it feels more like a settle down kind of idea, and the timing maybe not necessarily the best to have just come to market, to be honest with you, at some of those highs when all of the other emerging energy names have been getting smoked. So yeah, until the sentiment changes, I feel like you're just waiting on this, something like this. And if you like, I'm already in a speculative energy play, so I don't know if I personally want to add to it as well. And not enough volume for it to do much of anything here as a day trade. Like we wouldn't look at that for a day trade, but here comes everything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This top goes. I'm out of Mara. Now Mara, for its own sake, the best shorts on Friday came at 10 o'clock, and then 10:50. And then 12 o'clock for myself on Mara. So that's a level of patience that's gonna be required. And the initial short did take a hit as well. SMCI is still at VWAP, but unlike like Mara just boosted the top. So this needs to close underneath VWAP again. If it's gonna do that pattern, show me that you're not making fresh highs and that you're actually weak, because that's the only thing that's still holding down. It's down 2% and underneath the volume, or at the volume weighted average price. But Google, no dip. Thought we'd get maybe a chance when the market slowed down for a split second. You might see the 290s, but it's not even showing you any love anywhere to be able to jump into that long play. We got another super chat in here from Justin. Justin again. They were private, brought into public by SPAC. Oh, so it's a SPAC.
SPAC play.
Yeah, I think you really got to wait for those to settle down. They tend to be even trickier on valuation issues. So even that kind of makes me even more skeptical is not the word, but I would say very, very patient with any SPAC. You tend to see those, when they trend down, they tend to take a while to make a bit of a bottom.
All right, I'm going to bid out some here. We got a nice little trade on the back end of Palantir. Let's just see if it does wind up coming back down in. I mean, what a move. I mean, here it comes. What a move higher. Yes, finally. What a move higher here for Palantir. We might have not had enough orders out to capture this profit, but nice move down now for it. We'll see if it can wind up holding this move or not. That's Palantir, and a little bit of a backhanded move here as well on the futures, just to wait to see if there is, any real significant pull back in here. We'll take some profits if that's what winds up happening. But yeah, it's more about the Palantir move. I mean, what a good move up.
Tesla almost 420.
420. Okay, so nice move back there for Tesla then, needless to say, as that's a big move. There's 24XXX. What is that? That's a new gateway, right?
Yeah,
I just saw 24X in there somewhere. But okay, there it comes in. Let's go. Yes, sir. Big time trade alert.
I would only ever use it if you're...
Oh, man. Now $1 in on Palantir as that worked out for us. So we finally found a name there that's finally starting to give it back just a little bit. I mean, and Palantir is one of those ones that can dip and dive and duck and dodge and all that. So we're going to make sure that we do get out of a little bit there on Palantir for, of course, finally brought it back to the dollar club. It's got to break through 173. We got a 173.20 20 there, so we'll see if that's doing anything. And then the futures, what? I guess they just dip down for a second as we finally get back into that short rate there. But here it comes, man. Everything just ripping right back to the upside. So if you're going to be in the shorts, maybe not for a long time, but maybe for a good time, just not a long time. All right, IBIT there as well. Has been coming down, but now finally on the way back up. I mean, good day for Bitcoin, 95,000. Nice to see that one trying to hold out a little bit there for IBIT. So we'll see. That's all the way back to VWAP now as well. So that could be a decent trade. And then I always look back to SoFi because I think that $27 level is going to be pretty good. I mean, we already went down there, got flushed down to 27 again. So if SoFi can hold in and around 27, I think that'll be something that we definitely would like to look at there today. You know, some of the, I thought we had Beyond Meat moving around, or Open Door.
On Friday.
Yeah, so that's still above $1, so take a look at that. I mean, you don't want to be long this name. I think if it cracks below the dollar, we've discussed why, you know, you get the Nasdaq interested in looking at you if you're below $1, and you can't be down there for too long. Open Door, again, nice week last week, despite the Nasdaq having another down week. Open Door had a nice one, down to $5 last week early, rallied back into 9, and now you're back into 8. So I'd say you watch out for 7 and change here on Open Door. All right, so my positions are just doing what they're doing right now. The TQs has been okay. I mean, not really. This position's been okay. Not okay early. And then the futures are not really helping out Palantir. I'm going to get another bid there. I just put a bid at 43 and it ripped up, but there it comes back in. I'm still waiting for 173 flats. If we can get those, then good on us for Palantir. But the market, Neil, just continues, man. We just busted through 25,000. So now you're at 25,250 and looking to go higher here. So just be careful. The stop out is at the day's high for the futures, and it looks like we're trying to test that again. No volume profile is giving me the idea, or not volume profile, sorry, no volume spikes here telling me that we've seen the top or anything. So just settling down right now. Remember, Fed talk. And I looked, we don't have anything today.
It's 4 talkers, and that's it. That's
no
it.
numbers.
Or we just had, look, Bitcoin is actually falling here.
Oh, okay, good.
So I'm going back over to, here, that's Bitcoin underneath VWAP. But there's Mara.
I'm short everything.
I'm going to short Mara again, obviously.
Yes.
But the market just took a left turn. Did Bitcoin just lead the market lower?
I don't know, but right now,
yes.
I know Palantir
I'm saying it did. I'm saying it. It
go
looked heavy. Like
finally.
Like we were at VWAP a second ago. SMCI was at the low of the day when I saw Bitcoin break down. Mars also falling in. Google's not falling, by the way. Nvidia's not really doing much of anything. So I guess you have to be in the right type of name. Jameson, we'll look at some of the quantum names. IonQ had a story though. I double checked. There is a story with IonQ this morning. They made some kind of an acquisition. It wasn't moving at the time, but if it's going boom. There was a headline this morning on IonQ. I just don't know it off the top of my head. So SMCI was the only thing under VWAP, shorted that. But I do want to jump back into Mara as that just went red on the day after that Bitcoin, I don't know, heavy candle to the downside. Let's go to Adara, maybe the IonQ news.
Can confirm that IonQ is acquiring Skyloom. That was announced this morning. They're also set to attend this Supercompute conference today. I know also QUBT is supposed to attend that conference later this week. I want to mention as well, I am seeing from a couple sources that we might be getting a number at 10 a.m. U.S. construction spending month over month. You guys know we'll cover that for you, of course, at 10 in case it does end up getting released. Back to you.
I want to take this
it is all
off.
over the place.
Yeah, I want to take it off.
There's a new gateway.
Bugging me.
Yeah, 24x you'll see on Real Trade.
Bang, let's go, man. Let's floss it off right now, finally. All right, man, Palantir, good trade. We just got, we're getting 172.50s now. We're down to the downside. This is now $1.30 in the money on PLTR, so patience paying on this one. That is for sure so far. And then obviously the Nasdaq, good trade now on this. Let's let it work though, because we could scalp this out. Well, okay, let's get another piece out here, just because where we're at now. Ooh, we were just at 106.10. Can we get that, please? Hopefully we can. No, when we're at some of these lines here, and look, it's not. Did we just get it there? I think we did. Yeah, we did. Okay. So it just retraced back here. The real retracement, I'd like to see it get back into VWAP. So like this 105.50 to 105.60, I think are better areas for me to start to scalp out. So let's not do too much right now, just because I'll regret that. If it comes back in and all of a sudden I don't have as many shares. I already have half. I'm already out of half of this reload. So not good. It's not even a reload. We got stopped out there, and then I still wanted to feel the short. Remember, my initial short position was between 105 to 106, and unfortunately it was 105.50 that caught me there, and we had to punch out when it broke 106 right there. That was really a nothing reload right there. But that we put on some more shares. I stopped out a little bit, put on some more, and now let's just wait to see if we're going to be at least right about the futures coming back. Give it a shot to get to VWAP is what I'm thinking right now. So nice push into this level, but we are bouncing off of 80. So let me put something here at 85, and then the real level that I was just indicating was like this 105.60 or so. So if we can put something down there, that'll make me feel a little bit better of getting out in and around that level, and then hopefully a downside push after that. But it's almost $2. Sorry, back to $1 again. We did almost get $2 as we just bounced. There's numbers? Okay, I didn't see any on our watch list, but we'll go over to Adara right now for something happening at 10 o'clock.
No.
I wasn't seeing any when I made the watch list either, but as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I'm seeing quite a few sources suggest that we might be getting this construction spending print. So I'm going to keep an eye in case we do end up getting that. Again, as indicated a couple minutes ago, looks like we did get it actually higher than expected, 0.2% here for construction spending month over month for the month of August versus negative 0.1%. So higher than expected construction spending month over month. Let's talk here about this market and NVDA's leadership of said market. We know this stock has been incredibly strong, still one of the strongest, if not the strongest here in terms of market cap. And they're reporting earnings after the bell on Wednesday. Now, depending on how this goes, this could really lead the market higher or lower. So these post-market earnings on Wednesday are absolutely going to be worth watching. There's other Mag 7 news, though, too. GOOGL made some big post-market moves on Friday, announcing a $40 billion data center investment in Texas. And minutes later, we had Berkshire Hathaway put out their 13F filing showing that they have taken a pretty massive stake in GOOGL, over 17 million shares worth, all during that most recent quarter of Q3. And NFLX pushing lower here and actually trying to break the 110 level. This is its first day of trading after its 10-for-1 stock split. So going from roughly $1,100 all the way down to 110 with that stock split. Right now, though, the stock not responding too positively on the first day of trading post-split. Before we send you back to Sean and Neil, we will take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., but there's still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, or OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug, designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more. Schedule a meeting today. Back to you.
Yeah, this morning.
Okay, here we go, guys. Yeah, what's up to Randy? We got a face slapper right now, Randy, though. I just showed him this Palantir chart right here. 174 down to 172. So we brought it into existence as I thought it was $2 in the money before, but now it is officially that. And here goes the TQs, bringing it all the way back in finally. But just bouncing, you know where I'm sitting here? 105.60. It just topped to 105. Just bottomed at 105.64, so might have missed that by a couple pennies. Let's just adjust that right now. And Randy, your oil stock's looking pretty good, as we did talk about having Michael Noss, and hopefully it wasn't a death kiss on this, but there it is, XOM 119, so not bad. Nice move up there today from those lows, so we'll see if XOM can work itself out. All right, so I just went to 105.70 there instead of 105.60. That's a face slapper right there, so we're really happy with that one as Neil and I both continue to hold on to the short. And man, we're $2, we're about $3 now in the money, so finally a nice little move to the downside here. Just took a couple minutes.
Yeah, it has taken a couple of minutes. AMD just broke trend, so I just jumped into that one. Someone in the chat just said, cover Tesla for the boys, for the crew, and for the viewers. 100% we'll get there in just a quick little second. But there was a trend break. I wanted to wait for 250 on AMD. It ends up curling at 249. There's the break of trend, so shorted it there. Tesla is one of the strongest names in the market. Not quite that 420 level, which was so big last week. Yeah, it's not really. There you go. You can see 420. When it broke down on Thursdays. Yeah. Now looking like it's coming right back in. So first red candle of the day really on Tesla since this little tiny one. It is obviously breaking trend, but when it's this steep, all it has to do is put in any red candle and it's going to be breaking the trend. But that's not the short I'm in. Tesla probably going to break trend here, but the short's now working. Ooh, SMCI just broke even.
Yeah, we're all getting into the gates.
It's going to go to evens, but I'm looking for 34.75 to 80 is a target on that. Let's go over to Adara.
Ooh.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Silo. At the intersection of science and crypto innovation, Silo Pharma, trading on the Nasdaq under the ticker SILO, they're rewriting the playbook. Their lead drug, SPC15, is advancing towards FDA submission, a potential first-in-class intranasal treatment for PTSD and anxiety, with data already showing strong safety results. And at the same time, Silo is expanding its digital assets model, investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, while securing cutting-edge technology designed to strengthen and future-proof its crypto strategy. From lab to ledger, Silo Pharma is where breakthrough science meets blockchain innovation. So learn more at silopharma.com. Back to you.
No, the Bears are in the building, Neil. Okay, monster trade now. $3 here on Palantir, 1 in right now. This is the kind of sniping activity that I'm supposed to be doing. We absolutely nailed the Q's call, just was in it too early. So that is what it is. I mean, now it's underneath everything that we were shorting before, but you get the pullback right into the 200 period moving average. So let's just cover a little bit more down into here. There it goes. And then it's just, this name continues, man. This is the big winner P&L wise here for me today, obviously. Goes PLTR. So, you know, really happy that we were able to put on a good position there and able to take this back into the downside. So just an absolute monster. I mean, obviously your trades to the short side are probably working out here as well. So I'm just going to hold on to these two absolute monsters and see what winds up happening. Nvidia there, and we'll see if we can go ahead and find another one. But for right now, it's a little bit of a cash cow coming through on these two positions. But hey, man, you know, you never know where we're going to go from here. So that's what the next decision is, right? 187.50 coming through. Andre, just throw them up and then tell us. Don't ever wait for us to tell you to throw these things up. Yeah, so what's up, Day Trader LA? Google killing me. I'm minus 25K. What, just today you're minus 25K? Or what is your situation here? Because you should have never... You know, I've written down Google long here. Obviously, everybody can make their own decisions, but I don't really know where you would have got yourself in too much trouble here with Google. I mean, you must have shorted it. I would just say I like the short in the market here, but this is going oppo right now, up 5%. I would not, you know, we talked about this, Day Trader LA. It's just the fact is, and I feel bad that you have those hits and you're such a good supporter of the show. But I mean, this is one of the strongest names. And then you get Berkshire out there buying it. And I don't, look, Berkshire's buy is so small, it's not a big deal, but it gives you the sentiment of what they're thinking. And it, you know, if they're starting a position, most likely been adding to and maybe...
I would agree.
Yeah, maybe buying dips. So it's a tough position for you.
Oh, you went long. Huh?
Okay, all right, so he's long, he or she is long now on Google. So I would say stay long then. If you're down 25 grand on the long, must not be from today, so that's good. And so where did you exactly go long on this thing? I mean, you're almost at all-time highs. So, okay, if you're long Google, you obviously like the story. I think Google has a 300 print in it. It's just the problem is Nvidia this week, and the problem is the Nasdaq. So for me, we're absolutely raking it through on the short rate now. But I like Google here. I would actually say, it's not financial advice here, but you know, averaging in if you like the stock, and I don't know how big of a hit a 25 is for you, but if you still like the stock, I still like Google there, but again, everybody please manage your own positions, because like right now we're $3 and you could see just, you know, Neil and I both favoring the short, it looks like. So I'm going to still be in this.
I would say just be careful with leverage, because I'm assuming,
Palantir, wow.
Obviously you're making leverage plays. Just be really, really careful when you're chasing momentum. Again, don't know what the position was and make sure you have an out for every single entry. Good luck. The market is heading back in here. I dipped out of AMD and VWAP and got into another trend break. So there's a trend break on AMD. And that's a trend to the volume weighted average price if it holds a volume weighted average price, which it did. And then at the same moment, Mara finally broke trend. So there's 3 points on a 3-minute. It broke trend. I'm trying to add to it underneath the $12 level. As everything starts to come back in,
finally.
I would be only wary of, remember 25,000 on the Nasdaq. So there's a couple of things, green to red, because we went green, and now we're heading red. 25,000 has been a pretty big level. So I think it feels like the kind of place where you want to take at least a little bit of profit out in front. Fighting a sneeze, of course, because that's how I always am. So I'm going to take some out of Mara. Took the L early on Mara. Didn't even get back in until it was back underneath that volume weighted average price. So this one continues to head lower. Bitcoin back underneath 95,000. Going to make a wild and educated guess that things aren't going well for BM&R and some of those names either, as we're headed right back into these lows.
Oh,
here.
man. All right, Neil, this took a minute, but finally we are now green. I am now green on the day. I don't, I used to look up, I used to look to see what our positions are, but I don't even call that up. So I just know Neil's positions based on there. And I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing here, guys. So I see some comments there in the chat, but I'm only looking at what I'm doing. 170.13. I always look to see if we're both short, then I feel better about that. That's the kind of stuff that I look for right now. So here goes the TQs, right to the downside, and big time trading right now. Now we're at 104.25. Fabian, you good? Yeah, good, man. I like that. I like the Took look over there. You know what game my kids are absolutely in love with? Skate. For the PS5, Skate 4 right now. It's a fucking awesome game right now. It's like a big world, and you just go around and you just skate everywhere, and it's amazing, man. It's Skate. It's so good. My daughter is.
That was only about Splatoon right now.
Yeah. Oh, Platoon is good.
Splatoon.
Oh, Splatoon. Yeah, Splatoon. We have that game. I have both. I have
She's
the newest
second one.
Okay, is that the newest one?
Yeah,
we have both of them. Great game.
Kid-friendly shooter is the best way to.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a painting.
It's like basically paintball.
You cover the paintball. That's the word I was looking for.
It's essentially paintball.
Splatoon's great. Yeah, we love Splatoon, man. Great game.
I find it tricky to play.
It gets boring after a while, but
you're also playing toddlers.
yeah. My kids would ruin me.
No, I get wrecked, but my daughter destroys me in that game.
Yeah, of course
it's not
does,
even.
Dude. She's crushing you every day.
Cool.
All right, so
just very quickly.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
To target and also to pretty much looks like buyers came in there. So 34.75 was the target on SMCI, and it's already starting to bounce off that level. So this is almost an auto short at the volume weighted average price, but that's an if we get there. Like this prior low at 35.25, even a bounce into that, I think would be a reload special on this bad boy. And looking back over at Mara, anything under VWAP, I'm also going to try and reload this one to the south side. But the other thing to keep in mind is if we're bouncing, I want to keep an eye on Bitcoin. Bitcoin still trend down, actually green, but it doesn't matter. Like it's a 24-hour market. It's trended down from those highs. And it felt like this turned first. Like I felt like this made the high before the market made the high. So when this gets to VWAP, IBIT, that's where I'll be looking for a reload in Mara. Might even go just to Bitcoin itself because it felt weaker than Mara. I was expecting the opposite to be true, that Mara would be weaker. But for now, it's going to be Bitcoin, which leads me to likely take a shot at this and Mara for the south side. Both of those looking pretty weak. Google's still strong-ish. It's up 5%, but it's trying to hold on to VWAP here. This would be a nice little bounce level. See, wait till it gets to VWAP and then take a shot. This was the only long idea I had in the box. So if it can close over 290 here, I would take a shot to see if this can get back to the highs. Just because Berkshire bought doesn't necessarily mean that, it's all roses for Google at these prices. But you have to figure it does put some kind of a floor on it, as it was such a small amount of cash that they deployed. You got to figure they might want to buy some more.
Okay, just to go on. So I was gonna say 5% left of Palantir. Like we got into 170, everybody. So we're out, man. That's what we were talking about, like just being able to battle back because we did take our first hit on Apple hit was whatever. I mean, this was short 280, 280. 269.75, 269.80, out on a 270 break. We get 03s or 04s, so that was like a 30-cent hit. Almost not right away, but right away. Like we were in there for 2 minutes, and then boom, goes the dynamite on that one. Just to review some of the trades, and then we were short the TQs, got stopped out there, then made it back right there. Still actually going to be red on them because of this move back to the high side. So we did cover a lot down there. I only have now about between 15 to 20% left. Again, a lot of shares, so it's hard for me to take into that consideration. And then what put us green was Palantir. there. So Palantir was a huge trade to the downside. There we go. We get some ones. I was just going to say I'm bidding 171. That just came in right there again. Now we'll wait to see if the market can retrace into some lows. I'm looking to put on some more trades right now. So there it goes, man. The sentiment is changing like minute by minute here. It seems like anyways, like the market wants to just really crack and then find a base and start to get back going again. I mean, look at Tesla's, I think is a great example. I was actually talking with my friend yesterday actually, and he test drove the Model X and was just like, this guy has money, and he was just really impressed with FSD and basically was, you know, getting ready to buy. I don't think he pushed the button yet, but getting ready for that. So I don't know. Everybody, I really am impressed with this as a car company, let alone, you know, where Tesla's going for the future and what we talk about with his pay package and everything. The big thing, and I was talking to Marissa about, is the key holder risk. Like, it's a one-man pony, and if anything happens to that pony, that could be a little bit of a problem. And we just talked about Splatoon and some of the gaming ideas, and that reminds me of Roblox. And Skate is an EA game, so EA, of course, going private, so we can't do much there. But Roblox, yeah, another move down, and I just want to say, watch out for this at a hunch. That's going to be a good spot there. And then NFLX came through with the split today. So welcome to $100 right now. Well, at least triple digits for Netflix. Not $100 quite yet.
If it got to 100, we'd have problems today.
Down 10 more percent. You know, I could see it just from a technical standpoint because it is the split and maybe people sell it, but there's no reason for this to be down 10%. So if that does happen, yeah, I think we would scoop some down there around 108 and sorry, 108 is where I'm looking to buy it on the note here. Here, let me just call this up, and I think we got to go to Adair, correct, Andre? Okay, we'll go over there in a second. I just want to show you this chart. This was why I wrote down Netflix on here on the note today, was this 108. Now, again, if we get to there, I know me and Neil we just said 100. It's not going to get to, like, that's 100 right here, which would be a pretty cool level too. I mean, I like that level.
It's a good level.
But this 108, I don't necessarily want to buy it. This is a day trade. So I think if we can get into 108 right now and just test that 107.50 area, that's a good little level there. And then if you like Netflix, yeah, actually, nothing wrong with buying a quarter of your position or so. But remember, you're under the 200 period moving average. And now we just want to see some of the action post-split. So $100, whenever a stock is near there, I always feel like there's a magnet towards that level. Just like I think Google, and to you, Day Trader LA, I think Google does, and this is Google, does float up to $300 just naturally over the next couple days. Again, the big worry spot for many of these names is what happens Monday evening, as we already know that the spend is there. Google's dropping 40 more billion into another data center. So if we're worried about Oracle, some data center costs, I mean, did Meta bounce nicely on Friday? Because there it is. All right, what's up, day trader? I went long. Okay, I went long on Google. I think that it's the wrong time. Do your Canadian prayer. I needed over 295. Yeah, okay. I mean, you know, I don't pray necessarily for stock prices or anything like that, but I do think that you're into something with Google. That's all I can say. Like, out of all, I don't know, I can ask you, out of most of the mega cap names,
that and Meta are the best valuations, and it's the best looking chart. So,
but I would never want to be in Meta over Google.
But that being said, the timing is everything. I can like all of that about Google, but that might not matter today, unfortunately, depending on the price. But yeah, like I like Google. I think your valuations will fine, but that's more of like a long-term look. So, like I said, good luck. It's just, you can't like what's going on overall with the market here. Day trader relay, don't show Adara unless she is wearing something green.
Oh, too bad.
That doesn't hold. We need to get the news. That's what it's all about. We appreciate everybody, but the market, successive red candles now. This is already different from the bounce on Friday because you're immediately losing the volume weighted average price. Distinctly different and about to go red one more time. Oh, look at AMD had just bounced $3 and is right back underneath the volume weighted average price. We're right back into the lows. Bitcoin's breaking low. Mars now broken down through the low of the day. Everything is losing the bid, unfortunately. That's not going to bode well for Google either. I wish I could tell you that that was not true, but that is the case. The market is distinctly different from the dip buys that we saw on Friday, like immediately making some lower highs and lower lows, unfortunately. Wish I could tell you something better, Day Trader LA.
All right, thank you very much, Adara, for the following news that you're about to give us right now.
I mean, he said a lot since then, but we did have some comments a while, I guess now 5 minutes ago, probably from Fed's Jefferson on crypto, specifically in regards to what the Fed should be doing with crypto in terms of some of their commentary. So Fed's Jefferson saying that he does not think that crypto and other innovations in that space will necessarily influence the Fed's ability to do monetary policy as long as the Fed keeps pace with what firms and households want to do. He also said that the Fed's rules not to encourage or discourage the use of crypto because that's up to the private sector, but that the Fed's job here is to make sure that the banking sector is safe and sound as the public adopts new technologies like crypto. So again, Fed's Jefferson kind of laying out the law here with regards to what the Fed should be doing when it comes to crypto. Back to you.
Thank you very much again, Adara. As everything's sort of bleeding into the downside. I can show you IBIT, Bitcoin's pretty much at the low. We just tagged 94,000, now at 93.94 as we break lower here on IBIT. I want to look for places to add to this on Mara here. Just eating some watermelon, guys. If we get lower highs continuing, we took the L early, but I want to be adding to this every single chance we get on a pop. This is something that to me is breaking down on the daily chart anyways. So if Bitcoin's headed lower, if crypto's looking weak, then just got to stay with it. And it's not the only one. Like if you look at, load up here. If you look over here at Circle, 5% down and bleeding, absolutely bleeding to the downside. BMNR as well, just broke the low of the day, 4.5% to the downside. So these names are obviously going to move a little bit more, a little more volatile than the overall crypto space and not looking too good. And even the signs of strength, like all morning long, the #1 name on our visualizer was Tesla. And it still is by a long shot. And Lithium America is up there. We'll get to that in a second. But Tesla's almost pulling back into VWAP. So this was the strongest name, and now it's pulling into the volume weighted average price. But I just saw LAC's in here. I'm not aware of a story on LAC this morning. Maybe it's something we missed, but it's up 9%. And it was trending higher. And yet another name that was trending up in the morning and just broke that trend as well. So just be careful if you happen to be anything to the long side. This could be a spot where something trending long could be a buy. Like I'd say LAC if it held VWAP. But unfortunately it did not, and I'm not aware of any story with this, so I wouldn't want to trade it blind. There was not one. There was also not a story on Lucid. Remember I said on Friday, should have been looking at the Lucid short on these silly things that reverse split and then fall? Look what it did today. Just absolute disaster, Lucid. If a stock reverse splits, you should almost, as a day trader, just short it almost every single day. It's insane.
Oh, Sean knows the trend is down overall. Whales eating up. Sharp. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we've been nailing the trend for a minute here, and we've talked about the short. We had the short written down from the jump. So thank you so much, Izzy, for that comment. Yeah, I mean, this is how you have these big winners, right? But you can also got to be careful because you can also have big losers. But right here, Palantir right now back into 170 again. This is now $4 in the money. The futures, we continue to hold out hope that this can even get lower. We were just bidding 104 and just missed it there. So I'm just going to sort of sit in these two and look for some more shorts. I mean, we're underneath VWAP. I really like the short today. I mean, like I was saying, man, I'm green today. I hope you guys are green. It was a tough road to hoe early, right there, trying to wait for the short, but eventually at about 9:45 to 10 o'clock, the market's kind of flipped on itself a little bit. So that created a really good opportunity for this market to fall back in. I'm going to bid some more out here on the TQs, as we may have missed that 104 there. I mean, that's kind of where we started to jump off from. So we had written down here, and again, I appreciate that comment, Izzy, but we had written down Google, Apple, TQs, and Netflix as some of the ideas today. So we've traded the only one that we didn't put in, which is my highest trade of the day, and P&L-wise, of course, is Palantir. So sometimes you don't know where your bread is buttered, but we did have that nice run up there in Palantir. And at the same time, I was thinking the market was a little bit top heavy there. We got a 174 print on Palantir, and the reason why we shorted that is it just came right into here. It was a level, sort of that little level there from Friday, I guess, or Thursday, where we sort of gapped underneath that 174. So it ran up right into that price again, and then we have, you know, that 350 or so, $4 at the maximum there of a winner for Palantir. The market's trying to battle back though, which is nice to see, especially for some of those longs like I know you guys have. But there's 174. There's the short that I have out on 174 that came in. You do have to be, you know, a little bit on the ball to look at to find that. But again, I'm only looking at a couple names, and we were able to capture that, which was pretty good. And you know, I am worried about the banks though, because they continue to lose the bid, and not now, obviously, as I say that, it goes oppo, but
they've been strong today.
They were strong, yeah, right now. This morning though, like we were down to 302 there. That was not good. I was worried about 300. And I think most of this is regarding what we're gonna see with the Fed, right? I mean, the Fed in just a couple weeks now, December the 10th, this used to be 65, 70, 80% the other way. So now you've completely flipped. Now you're 60% to 40% in the camp of no cut whatsoever. So now, you know, these different stocks are going to have to reassess here when money gets a little bit, not going to get more expensive, but it's not getting any cheaper as many thought. So I think that's going to be a big hit for some of the lower cap names that need the cash. You know, a stock like a Google or an Apple or anything like that, it's fine for them. Actually, they hold so much cash, you know, they make money on that, right? But when you're looking at levels from Moderna or some of these biotech names or things like that, you know, XBI probably heading to the... XBI has been really hot because of Eli Lilly and some of the stories there. But as you get rate worries, I could see this pulling back as well. And here
Speaking
comes
of Lilly, by the way.
Yeah, we do have a dare, but yeah, what do you want to talk about for Lilly?
Oh, I was going to say Lilly's actually one of the few stocks that is on the verge of breaking out today. So dip by, like a lot of things were a dip at the open, but starting to look like it might be another breaker. 1035 would be the big break from last week, and 1025 in here. That's always relatively strong, it seems. But we always got to go up to a dare at the desk. She's got the goods.
Hi guys, let's talk about these small caps, starting with LAC, Lithium Americas. As I mentioned, there's no story on this. They did report earnings on Thursday, so this is, I guess, a later stage earnings play, but this is not, again, earnings day one and no other news here for LAC. So I guess an earnings play from late last week, but nothing else on Lithium Americas. Then we have Zymeworks, ZYME. This one and some of its partners, including publicly traded Jazz Pharmaceuticals, or JAZZ. They reported some statistically significant and clinical meaningful improvements for one of their treatments. You can find out more about this on our Trader TV Live watch list. It is the last entry in today's watch list. Good look for ZYME. And last but not least, IREN. This one is a bit of a larger market cap, but IREN is interesting because they're both an energy play and a Bitcoin miner type play. So IREN, again, as we have Bitcoin and a lot of these energy names on watch, especially as of late, this is going to certainly be one that is making some upside moves, especially off of the open. Now, before we send you back to Sean and Neil for more trading action, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Trade the Pool. Because for too long, trading meant risking your own money. We're just never having enough to start. The fear of losing. That's what kept so many traders on the sidelines. But guys, that is now changing because Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets, because with its limited risk trading model, traders use funded capital, and Trade the Pool absorbs the risk. Absorbs the downside. This allows traders to focus on what truly matters: discipline, consistency, and growth. So when you hit that profit target, you keep 70% of the profits. No fear, no barriers, just real opportunity. That is the revolution of limited risk trading, which is of course powered by Trade the Pool. So visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now to get 10% off your first evaluation. Make sure to like and make sure to subscribe as we send you back to Neil and Sean.
Thank you, Adara. I saw in the chat someone, John Tranum, asking, what if the Fed raises? Well, if the Fed raises, then this very small down move that you have right now will be seen even smaller. There's no chance. I think there's pretty much no chance that the Fed would actually raise rates, but the market would not treat that very well at all. Because it's not just that they'd be raising rates, it would just be such a surprise and a shock. Like, it's one thing to pause, which is slowly getting priced in December. If they were to completely come out of nowhere and hike rates, that could be pretty nasty, I would suspect. But like, it's a low probability. The betting markets or the futures markets tend to do really well at pricing the Fed's intentions. Their whole idea is to be transparent, so I think it's a little bit unlikely. Thankfully, and thank you, Adara, for noting that there isn't a story here on LAC. If that's going to be the case, then fair enough. Like I wouldn't have shorted a trend break if there had been a story and I thought it was an explosive one. This is a decently shorted name, but if it can hold underneath 5 and put in some lower highs, it has broken trend, I'd look to fade that. There's a trend break on LAC. It's also at a pretty decent resistance level, the $5 anyways. So if it can put in that lower high under 5, it sets up on the 3, it sets up on the 15-minute as well underneath the $5 level.
All right, Sean Cantina, your close unique trading group. You wanted a hot dog cannon, so you're going to get one here in a second. I just got to find where it was. You asked for it. There it is right there. You admire my resilience. Well, thank you for that. And passion. Well, hey, everyone here is pretty passionate. That's why we're here. I have never stopped watching since you saw us, I seen you too, perfect. And the whole crew, Adara with the quick updates. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we're adding more and more to the show and there's even more to come. So here, I'll get rid of that. We want to thank you for sending in that note and you also get the hot dog can for that one. So there it goes. All right, so nice move higher there on the TQs. And again, just more covering as we're lighter and lighter on this. We have 10% on this, almost exactly 10% left. And on Palantir, under 5% now. The market has nicely rebounded and actually debating now taking more short into this move here. And maybe Palantir into 172. I mean, these are not horrible levels on PLTR right now on a 1-minute chart. I was always looking for a little bit higher because it's been such a dramatic kind of a day where we were at least, we opened up down 0.5 or so, made all the way back up to like 0.5%. So we swang about 1% in the Nasdaq in the first, I don't know, let's say half hour. And then we swang all the way back and turned actually back into the red, close enough to the red anyways at 25.50 there on the Nasdaq and now just kind of hovering around. So I think that this is a decent short area for Palantir if you're looking to reload in and around 172. So, you know, just looking today, we'll talk about some of the earnings plays. We talked about Home Depot coming through, but let's just have a quick little look at what's happening in this general market right now. Nvidia down 1.3% as the Nasdaq up 0.17 and the SPY right now up 0.4. The gold markets, just double checking what gold is doing. Gold now down 0.32 as an Nvidia and Apple both red. Broadcom seeing nice move today. AMD flat, which is nice to see. And Neil was looking at that earlier. Boeing still down that 0.5%. Qualcomm continues to get hit. We had some good insider buying there last week. Cisco with a good report. Micron and Western Digital continue to work themselves out as well. There's Western Digital down there up 4%. For Western Digital. That's a really good name there. Webull continues to get hit. If you guys are looking at Webull today, down through $9. That's been pretty bad. Microsoft, bad today, down 0.5%. Would like to see them a little bit better. And the reason why I say bad is Nasdaq's up 0.2. You don't want to see some of these names down. And same with Meta's hovering around their $600 mark. Welcome, congratulations to Netflix as you are now a triple-digit stock. Nothing you did wrong. I think you did right by splitting. So we'll wait to see what happens with Netflix. Their Salesforce, one of the shittiest stocks in the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, continues to get hit today with report coming this week. That's been a dog to be in, that's for sure. Palo Alto, we saw them getting upgraded today on Joe's board. CrowdStrike as well. Both those names, I really like the cybersecurity space. So holding both of those has been a good one as well. And then one more just to talk about retail coming through. We looked at the banks. They're pretty mixed here today. Obviously, Berkshire with that Google stake. So Google being up 5%. Berkshire tends to go up a little on that. I mean, they dumped their BAC position pretty heavily. So that should be more talked about probably than the Google trade. But Bank of America downside, Goldman up. And we saw JP Morgan. I thought they were down early. I actually like Capital One with their Discovery.
Ooh,
yuck. Yeah. I've already called Robinhood through 100, but I don't. Go ahead. Yeah, where was Coinbase?
Coinbase as well, not exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crypto.
Well, there it is. Yeah, down 5.
Well, I was just sort of pointing out the crypto-related names in the financials are the ones that are just getting absolutely destroyed. So Coinbase down 5%.
Damn.
Where is its home? It's not. I don't know if it's there yet, but 240 seems like it could come into play for these bad boys. Bitcoin just hit 24.3-ish. Okay, well, maybe not 23.4. It looks like it's bouncing off of right now. Mara came back into the volume-weighted average price and is headed back into the lows. So as long as IBIT and Bitcoin, I almost hit blue ocean there, continue trend down, then I want to hold this. But notice how suddenly Mara is now leading the way. Like Mars is a little bit lower near the bottom and Bitcoin isn't there yet. So I do want to try to get some out just in case we get back through VWAP on IBIT. But it's trend down, lower highs all the way through. So I wanted to be short Mar if that was the case. So we are. And I was trying to pick up, well, I guess pick up is the wrong word because I wanted to go short. So on LAC. It doesn't get to 5, but this is going to close underneath the volume weighted average price, which means I'll take a shot at it here underneath VWAP. No story for LAC reported on Thursday. Maybe just like a squeeze or something. I don't know. The market goes up and who knows. Sometimes these kind of things can be technical breakout, hits a resistance spot and pulls back in. So I'll just call it that and look for the continuation here to the south side. Unique trading group. Can you look at Cisco? Hey, how about a good earnings name last?
That was a good one.
Might have been a bit of a jinx just now because I just eyeballed it and said this is actually also breaking its trend.
It was up to 1.
But Cisco, it hasn't pressed through the high that it made post earnings yet. So you're still looking at that pre-market high. What was it, like 970? It wasn't even 80. It was like 79.6. Can't even get through that. So it's range bound. I don't know if it's going to be able to break that high with the market as weak as it is today. It feels like the trend broke on the futures, and that would make me skeptical that Cisco is going to be able to get through the high. But remember with them, they were like 17 PE, so all they had to do was have a pretty decent earnings, and that's what they did. And that's where they're holding up in some strength. But I wouldn't put this in the same type of relative strength category as some of the data names. They just had a solid number and were relatively cheap, is my guess. I just don't think you're not blowing out those highs if the market continues this little reversal.
I guess we were 100% right, but we'll slap a fail because I was saying maybe this is a good level to short Palantir here at 171.80, and now it's at 170.50. So it looks like that would have been. I was like, that's probably a good level to reload there. So we can have a look at that if it does come back. But let's have a look somewhere else. So all right, we normally have. I don't know why it's not in the back there, but sometimes we'll have this screener sort of in the back there for everybody, so we can have a quick little look now. I know we've been looking at Tesla here early today, so that's been a little bit of a take on that side of things, TSLA, so we can have a just quick look at that. Okay, Amazon, Google, Netflix, Meta. So Meta to me is a 600 break. You can have a look at that, just $5 away from that right now. Palantir down to 170. We're already short 174. That's been really traded well. SoFi, I can have a quick little look. I really like some SoFi. We've also talked a little bit about that trade here today and some of the banks and how those are moving around. So let's have a quick look at SoFi again. Another fan favorite of mine anyways, SoFi. I think we all like SoFi, and
it's not very good today.
Yeah, no, I know. So that's why I wanted to. I was still looking at 27. We've nailed this Palantir and Qs on the short side of it. We did fail up on Apple at 270, but SoFi at 27. I said I liked it the first, like when it was up here, I was like, if it comes into 27, I like it, but I was not sitting there. It should have been because it bounced clean off 27, went to 27.40. So that's either way, that looks like that'll be a good trade there if you got it, but you got to have it first. SoFi right now, good trade, but not moving around enough for me here. But 27 looking like a little bottom there for SOFI. I'm not ready to go long anything right now. Just today. In the long-term account, yes, for SoFi, but for right now, no. And we talked about cracking on Robinhood. When this was 140, which was the last time I was here, we were thinking short on this name. Now it's at 117. So yeah, man, Robinhood's been really taken out during this crypto move down. And I think that's about right. And, I was saying that maybe we'll talk about Robinhood at $100. And so, yeah. Let's talk about that maybe Wednesday, all right? Because right now, it's getting back into this area pretty well. I don't know, man. 150 down to 116, so you're not quite down that 10% yet. So that's where I give it a little bit more room, and then I think you want to scoop it up because I like SoFi better, but SoFi's actually down now, that 10%. I think if you're going to buy something, SoFi from $32, give that $320 down, that's where you are right now. So for me, I like SoFi a little bit better. I think it's less exposed to that crypto space. So I like SoFi. Webull right now is left for dead. This is just, like I said, shooting fish in a barrel. If crypto is going to keep going down, SoFi, you want to talk about a name that's been beat up. This name a month ago was $16. All right, let's give it a month and a half ago, $16, now $8. So this one chopped 50% downside. And it's not even like that's the top. I mean, you had sort of double topped there a little bit around 17 and 18 right into here, and then you tried to get going, and then wow, straight whap to the downside goes Webull. As yeah, can't find any bids there.
I take you that one and raise you Circle.
Yeah, Circle is bad too.
Well, what's crazy about Circle, we're maybe 2 days away.
I like Circle better than Webull.
Maybe one more from getting to that the IPO low. That's the level. There's nothing left. That's the level to defend. And then after that, you get to the issue price, which I don't remember off the top of my. I feel like the issue price was like 40. Maybe it was like 39 or 46. I'll have to double check.
Yeah.
But if you lose this 64, 65, then you're waiting for that price, whatever it ends up being. You cross that bridge if you get there. I feel like if you get to that, the issue price is an auto buy, but I think this week we have a decent chance of hitting that all-time low there on Circle. You might look for a bit of a bounce. Like if Bitcoin holds like 90,000 and this holds that same level at the same time, that'd be pretty good. Let's go over to the desk with Adara.
Yeah, keep an eye here on SILO, our friends here at Silo Pharma. They announced here they're partnering with Lucid to support planned FDA investigational new drug application for their SPC15, which is, again, one of their therapeutic drugs here, or therapeutic treatments for PTSD. So again, Silo Pharma in its work here to put out that FDA investigational new drug application for SPC15. They've now partnered with Lucid. So SILO, going to be on watch, guys. Back to you.
Right.
John Del Segno saying, check out Bullish. Well, yeah, it's also getting dunked on. I can't really tell you it's any different because in the same period of time, it's basically been cut in half. So whether it's Circle or Bullish, same move. The difference is, well, Circle's at least back to its IPO low. Bullish is, what? Oh my goodness, it's like 50% down, 40% down from its IPO low. So this one's continuing to just flush, and more flush, unfortunately. Just going back over some of the names. I haven't traded Tesla for you guys here, but Tesla, at least for now, is heading higher again. But double top, and I can now show you this, where the first available pullback into 405, it's now dipped twice. Third contact is being broken here on Tesla, so this is also breaking its upward trend. 2.5% for Tesla on the day, one of the stronger ones, but it's also losing its trend line as we speak. So not much of anything is holding up that was trending higher in the AM. This might be like the last straw, unless Google's going to hold on here, which it's barely doing so. Google up 5%. It's at the volume-weighted average price, slightly underneath and showing signs of weakness. But it's Tesla, which is closing. Looks like it's going to close breaking this trend line. Not going to break the rule and sort of sneak in. Too far from the high to not wait until the bar closes and set up like a consolidation short trade. If it does a trend break at the high, it's easy. You're just going to jump in, put the stop up there. But this is kind of diddling in the middle. I am in LAC. That was a new one. No new story here. Just kind of went ham in the morning and seems like it's breaking down, broke the trend, so shorting it underneath VWAP, back to where it started on LAC. The government might want to invest in them. The question is, will there be buyers again back at 350? Because LAC's almost round tripped the entire thing.
Gosh.
It's unbelievable. Like it was a triple up, and it's almost all the way back in. And that didn't take long. That's the end of September. It's been 2 months, and LAC seems like it does want to retest that 3.5. Let's go to Adara, have a look and see how some of the sectors are doing. At least there's a couple of things strong.
Here's a pretty red sector board specifically for a lot of these tech sectors in the finance space. Electronic tech being weighed down pretty heavily by Nvidia ahead of its earnings on Wednesday, and Apple, though Qualcomm and Arista Networks also pretty weak. Micron and Broadcom, though, trying to balance things out with some strong upside moves. Tech services, lots of weakness as well. Google, the one bright spot with their $40 billion Texas AI data center investment announcement, plus that big stake that Berkshire Hathaway took in the company. But other than that, pretty much every name here is weak, and a lot of them significantly so. Finance, Berkshire Hathaway, just to mention them again, one of the few stronger names here. We have tons of weakness throughout the rest of the sector. Retail trade, relatively weak with Amazon actually really pulling this group to the downside. Consumer non-durables a bit mixed. Energy minerals weak. Consumer services mixed to weak. Now in terms of strength, utilities looking really good. NEE leading this group to the upside. Health services green across the board. Health tech also mostly green here too. Eli Lilly a little bit red here, but overly pretty green. So again, health tech, utilities, and health services really the strong parts of this market today. Back to you.
All right.
The jinx on Lilly.
Yeah, we were
Like
just talking
right
about
to
Eli
green.
Lilly there, but like I said, with these rates getting lower, or not getting lower, might be a problem. All right, so we just got another trade there at 170 on Eli Lilly. We got on Palantir. We got 170.12s or 170.11s right there. That's the lowest basically we've gotten there. Nice $4 there for that, and then just trying to piece some more out on the Qs. So, you know, hopefully these bottoms, well, hopefully for the longs that are here in the account for many of us, hopefully these bottoms will hold for the day. But if they don't, we still do have on about 7 or 8% left of this, which might be a little bit too much. Let me take a little piece out right here again, as we'll take it another 2% or so on this. I mean, I wish we would have got it all out right here and could have reloaded it. But I just want to talk about some outs for Palantir, because my out initially was a break of 174. Well, that's where we're short, but we were looking for a break there and give it about 20 or 30 cents. So right now, I'm going to give this to 172. If we break back above there, I have less than 5% left of this trade. So I think we've done really good. That last bid down there at 170 was great. So we'll be happy with that. 172.11s. I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just kind of giving it a little bit more room above the even dollar level in case it sees it and then comes back in. But on this name, 10 cents, the spread is 5 or 6 cents at any time anyways on Palantir. So 10 cents a spread isn't that much, but will give me a little bit of cover, because maybe if it prints 11s, maybe I can get 12s or 13s out and don't have to worry about it ripping too much more after that. And then the TQ, so like I said, man, we'll be flat if not green on the day. But this move higher here is not helping, as we're getting ready to maybe stop out of the futures, because we're just taking VWAP right now, and we don't want to be too much past this 50-period moving average. So let's use 105.50 then as our out here. And this one will get out of 70. Actually, I have to cancel my past stop. My past stop was 106.66, 105.51. So not too bad. Yo, Fabian, what's going on? I thought you were Randy there with another coffee. So 106.66 was my stop. That's 11 cents. We made 400 cents on this trade. All right, so 105.50 stop there. And we only want to go 75% just to hold on to a little piece in case it does not signal the top right there. So, all right, man, bad bleed continues. We did real good getting out of SMR at $57, but right now it's at $22. So it's gotten straight down 1, 2, 3, maybe get that day in a row, about 10 days in a row, straight down. And again, how he hit that up there, I'll have no idea. Same way as Oracle, but you got to sell something near the tops, man. And I picked SMR and Oracle, and those so far have been so good there. But buying again, it's not been good. This $30 broke, and now you're all the way back into 20 again for SMR. Bad report last week, of course, from Oak. Well, it was a good report for Oklo. Wasn't a great report for Oklo, but hit 100, then went up to like 110 or 115 the very next day. And then the cat came back, and you thought it was a goner, and maybe it is, because right now Oklo continues to look like it wants to hit that $100 and continue a little lower. So Oklo downside there as well. And then no coverage today by us really on some of the quanta names at this 1045.
Well, IonQ is the one.
Yeah, IonQ was the one moving around. Rigetti's not doing too much.
IonQ had an acquisition. QUBT, I believe it was. They were the ones that reported on Friday. But this is the one that's going. It's IonQ off of VWAP. On the 15, it's all green for IonQ. Actually, on the 15, this looks more than good. Right, like all green, holding above prior lows, sort of prior highs. So 48.3 to 48.5. If it can maybe continue that trend a little bit longer. What I don't like is the futures are breaking down, but you are still seeing this little buy the dip, but you got to really wait for it, let it come in and try and pick up the dip. I wouldn't buy this at highs. It's what the overall market's doing. And I don't see a path where if we hold these VWAP on the Nasdaq and trend to the low, I don't see a path for a name like an IonQ to continue its trend up. It's just, you know, when the money starts coming out, like these can be they're really frothy.
Yeah.
Like we joke about the valuations because that's pretty much, that's all you can do with all the quantum names is kind of clown around about how ridiculous the valuations are. Like when they're saying, oh, we beat on revenue, and those revenues are like the minimum salary for a Major League Baseball player, then it's not very good. And so ultimately, you can't have a $10 billion valuation like Rigetti does and make $1.8 million and then start talking about, oh, but we beat. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It's just momentum at this time frame. Pretty much it. Crypto, I think, is the weakest thing right now. And I said, if I didn't get VWAP on Mara, which I didn't, again, it's not really going back up there. I might just, if Bitcoin gets there first, then I'd take an entry on IBIT if we don't get a reload in Mara. So they're continuing to trend down. We're at 94, so I guess it's kind of holding that 94,000 area on IBIT, but it's still lower highs being put on here, unfortunately.
Go
ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just because it's a relatively new position, I just want to say I did put a little bit more on of Palantir just because we are right at that level, and I'm stopping out at 172 anyways. So the futures just made a nice move. You know, this is kind of where you get carried away a little bit sometimes. It's like you don't want to throw good money after bad, or whatever that saying is. I think I screwed that up again.
Right.
No, it is right. But Palantir's been good money, so I don't want to throw.
It is good. It's the right way.
Okay, it's the right way to say it. Okay. So I'm just going to try this again. And there it is. Okay, so we just took 70s. We get 55. So bang, bang, bang on that one. Bang, bang goes who, Sharif? Right. Bang, bang.
Well, also
right there's a Cactus
Rick
Jack.
James sketch.
And Rick James, yes, as well.
Yeah,
but there goes Palantir right now. More bang, bang right there. We just reloaded it. Neil, it's $1 almost on the reload. So there it is right there. That was a good idea. I mean, I just told you our stop was 72s. So we take a 70, well, it was actually 72.11, so about 40 cents worth of risk right there. We bang, bang with that reload. Now 75 cents in the money. Another one, another 2-to-1 trade right there. So whoopsies, have your fruit salad whenever you want it right there. But it's this one that we're looking for. It is another one on that reload. And we could have reloaded as well the futures, but we did not do that. So let's put a bid to make sure we get out of said futures right now. But yeah, bang, bang goes Cactus Jack and Rick James and all of that. But that's a big time reload right there on Palantir. Hope you guys had that. But now I'm almost out. So I'm almost out of everything. Now I have the original position back on. When it just reloaded and came back in there, we quickly got that out at 171, man. Nice move back to the downside. So now we have 10% left of that Palantir and still about 8% or so now of the TQs because we just got another fill right there at 104.70. So thank you so much, Adam DeLuz, right there. We could put that one up here because, yeah, that was a pretty good trade right there. Yes, I would celebrate hitting free throws, of course, as we have. There it is. What's up, Adam DeLuz right there? Send that selected in there. Thank you, Adam. There's the bang, bang. We did it. It's another one for us on that. So yeah, and here goes the TQs right back down to the downside. So a little quick sniper action as we've got our sniper on right now. We're in the crosshairs of this market as we continue to make another push lower once again off VWAP. We chose Palantir as our weapon of choice there, not the futures. All right, it's 10:51, Adara, then everyone's favorite segment.
The US dollar continuing its uptrend on the daily chart. Still not too much to say on this, but one thing again to remind you guys of, now that the US government shutdown has ended after 43 days, and that was as of last week, we're now actually going to start getting some economic data. We did get a slightly unexpected economic data print this morning. U.S. construction spending for the month of August, a little bit higher than we were expecting. So that came through. We are also slated to get some employment data coming out on Thursday. This has already been confirmed. So there's certainly some interesting releases and updates to keep an eye on, including Fed Speak, which is still going to be happening this week. Today, we have 5 Fed speakers. We've already had 2 of them, Feds Williams and Feds Jefferson. Didn't really see much from Feds Williams here. Feds Jefferson not speaking much on economic policy, though he did talk a little bit about how the Fed should approach crypto. Cash Kashkari at 1 p.m. is certainly going to be interesting. He's known for being a little bit more hawkish, and then also hawkish, or at least as of late, is Fed's Logan, who's speaking after the bell. So Fed's be good watch, as well as the CME Fed Watch tool. Now, Sean talked about this morning, but it is, I think it bears repeating. 57% of participants now are not expecting that rate cut. Now, if you go back here on at the bottom of the Fed Watch tool, you can see how these numbers vary from 1 day ago, 1 week ago, and 1 month ago. 1 month ago, we had 93.7% of participants expecting a 25 basis point cut. Now that number's gone all the way down to 42.9. So significant drop in participants expecting that cut. As Neil and Sean mentioned, highly unlikely we'll get a rate hike, but having rates held seems to be more and more likely how the Fed's going to go. Back to you.
All right.
Yeah, having rates held seems like almost overwhelmingly the consensus at this moment. So Tesla's trying to break the trend and right back into the highs, 417. I said I didn't like the trend breakdown here because it wasn't tight enough to the top. Let it get a little bit higher. If it breaks the high of the day, it's an easy out. If it closes under the trend line, it's also going to be an add. Getting my stop quickly adjusted, off by a couple of cents, but doesn't really matter. If we close underneath trend line, it's an add, and I'm looking for the volume weighted average price, as pretty much always on this bad boy. And, oh, shoot, there was another stock I was gonna go over. I'm gonna keep it on Tesla here. There's no point going over to LAC in a quick little second. If we break out that high, the 420 level obviously is going to be a big one, and then after that, your gap fill to 427. So above here, it's like $3, and then about $6 to $7 higher. So this is a place to take a shot, and if it doesn't turn here, then it's really, really waiting for the reversion on Tesla. Sand Viper, it wasn't HIMS that I was thinking of, but yeah, I was looking at some of the small cappers that were running. Really, for me, it's just going to be LAC, and at least the potential of Beyond. And I'll get to that one a little bit later on. Just look at that dollar level on Beyond.
What's up, Christopher Mulligan? Yeah, man, celebrating the Palantir short with a donut, your first donut in 3 days. Make sure you do hydrate on that one, and congratulations for that Palantir short. It's been a real good one. But if you're having a donut, maybe you might not be super hungry, but let's figure out, Randy, what is for lunch? Okay, man.
Is it brisket?
It is not. Today, it's not too bad.
Not too bad?
No, today I've had 2 of these and 1 loser. Today it's Greek chicken with souvlaki. It's a little souvlaki action here today. Greek chicken with meza Greek rice, the word Greek is used a lot here. Greek seasoned vegetables.
That's a lot of Greek.
And guess what salad, Randy? Here, have a mic. Please guess the salad today.
It's not a Caesar salad.
It's not a Caesar salad. You're in the right
Not
region.
a house salad.
You're in the right region, so not
Coleslaw,
Caesar.
no.
It's a house salad depending on where you're from.
Greece?
Getting closer.
A Greek salad?
Greek salad. Randy's got it. Woo! Randy's got it right there. It's not fruit salad, Randy. No. It is Greek salad.
Here we go.
There you go, Randy. Congratulations. You are...
Greek.
Are you Greek, by the way?
No.
I know you're not Greek. Get out of here, man. All right. Thank you, Randy. That's what's for lunch. All right, man. What a day, what a day, what a day. I want to thank everybody for watching one more time. We only have 4 minutes left, of course. Sharif is in the building. Joe is in the building.
Yes,
everyone's favorite Adara remains in the building.
Uh-oh.
I am out of the building until 2 o'clock. I'll be back.
David's
sorry that
got
I'm coming
his silly
back.
trade on.
What's up?
David Tretsiak with the super chat has already got his silly trade of the day.
Let's
it's
go.
a little early, Dave.
Yeah,
but can we throw it up there? I looked over there, but Andre's all the way over here now.
Yeah.
Silly trade of the day puts on QUBT and watch out bank stocks.
Yeah, watch out downside bank stocks?
Downside on the bank stocks, huh?
Let's go down.
Well, QUBT, they were the guys that, this was the one that reported on Friday. There's your bump up. Hey, this is actually trying to break. This could be breaking down as we speak. You know, there's a little upward trend action for you and a bit of a breakdown potentially happening on QUBT. It is up 12%. It also rejected the 200-period moving average at the highs. I don't necessarily disagree with you there, but it needs to, probably break this trend line and then fill in the gap. If the market heads to the lows, would you bet on any quantum name? I wouldn't. That's for sure. So QUBT, David, I don't think it's necessarily silly to say look for a short setup on a quantum name. not in a day where the market's looking weak. Those are ridiculously frothy names to begin with. So kind of with you on that one, but the trend break I'm in is Tesla. It ran the highs, but then what did it do? Immediately wick the high. So if you're going to wick the high and do the same setup, I'm going to jump right back in the trade. Plays still to VWAP. That much hasn't changed. We'll look to see if this one can get down to that 412, which is the volume weighted average price. Chat, and then Alan in the chat just goes, let's go RGTZ at the same time, which of course is one of those, like, it's like the 2X Rigetti, which is a little bit wild. Good luck at the absolute low. Not at the low today, but red. Not really moving Rigetti. If you're trading quantum, it should be QUBT or IonQ today. Those are the two ones that are actually moving around.
I'm reloaded!
I didn't want to interrupt Neil, but there's another dollar for you there. So I'm glad, Neil, reviewing some of those names there for everybody to give you guys an opportunity to see, you know, some different trades there. But we just did the exact same thing again. We just took another 172 short right there back into 171. Just guys, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's been quite an eventful morning, and couldn't be happier, honestly, with some of these trades. I mean, look what the futures are doing right now as well. So that just came back in and just gave us, again, another low print of the morning. So just, you know, really the confidence and being able to hold these things for a minute, that's really, like you did on that Tesla, you know, you got a better average price there. And just trying to watch out to see for these trades to come back in. And this is why I'm saying, like, despite all of this, we'll be green this morning. You know, took a hit early, now back green, obviously, as Palantir is really holding the day for me. I mean, if we don't have Palantir, then we would be this, and then the Apple trade would be the only trade that we would be looking at, which would be a red one. So thankfully, you know, we've got only 3 trades today, but 3 pretty good ones as we just sit around and wait now to see if this market wants to continue lower. I think it does. So that's why I'm sitting here right now looking to see on this break right now of the Nasdaq underneath VWAP, underneath all of them. So let's wait to see if we can get a push even extending further past what we already have gotten so far here today. So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and complain about anything. It's been an absolutely fantastic trade there today to be holding into those shorts. And I just wish we would have kept with our faith there on Apple, because we did have that short at 270. Unfortunately, it goes 50 cents against us. We are out basically within 30 cents, but it does go up there and then crank just a little bit lower. But this market's back and forth. Like, if you don't take profits, then it can get disappeared real quick. So make sure you do have those levels marked. Make sure you join us back at 2 p.m. and the midday show is just about on. So yeah, that's pretty good. Good day so far. You know, hopefully the market, I mean, zeros. You know, Nasdaq's at 0.
Not necessarily a good thing.
ES at 0. No, ES down. So now the Nasdaq's actually better than the ES. So I do think you're right, David. When watch out for the banks, watch out for some negativity somewhere in this market, because right now that's a negative while this is a positive. That's bad. You know, so the Nasdaq is the one that plays catch up to the downside lately. So watch out for that.
It is 11 o'clock. We'll be back at 2. Right now, we got Joey options. We got Sharif. Not sure what small capper he's trading today, because there weren't that many popping off, to be honest with you. Few and far between.